Warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh bosku yang baru masuk guys Ya saya saya guys Hello guys, assalamualaikum guys Assalamualaikum. Okey bos kita akan masuk guys Kita akan menyokong pasukan daripada Malaysia. Dia tak ada pasukan dari Malaysia. Kita akan sokong Aria lah guys. Kita Aria. Boleh tak kita nak sokong Aria saja guys? Boleh tak guys? Kita sokong Aria guys. Kita bukan sokong Gigi guys. Kita sokong Aria. Boleh tak? Boleh ke macam tu bro? Boleh ke macam tu guys? So ini adalah semifinal bro. Semifinal bro. Boleh tak macam tu bos? Jen, kita nak tengok Aria saja. Kita nak tengok Aria saja. Kita tengok orang lain bro. Boleh guys Kita nak tengok Aria saja kawan, please sayang. Okay? Oh, sekejap guys aku rasa aku tak nak tengok custom Malay lah guys
Untuk gaming gladiator.
Aku tak tengok custom Malay. Custom Malay tak sedap lah guys. Kita custom. Kau tengok custom Malay ke? Korang pilih. Nak tengok custom Malay ke custom mana? Guys pilih guys. Nak custom Malay ke custom mana bro? Guys, pilih guys. Nak custom mana guys? Custom mana?
Yang menewaskan Nabi itu paling ramai tidak sangka.
Kemboja. Nak custom mana bro? Tak, custom mana? Custom mana? Custom mana? Tapi sayang lah guys Navy. Sumpah bagi aku Navy yang antara yang paling sedih lah guys Guys, Navi antara yang paling sedih bro. Aku tak boleh lah guys Navi. Sayang guys. English Kita tengok English guys Tengok English MWI. English La English.
Horses, these two teams, I didn't even expect them to come this far.
Can they defy the odds and secure?
There's over at the land of dawn, we've seen teams send packing, especially the Indonesian representatives Onyx.
Okay, let's go.
The reigning queens of NWI themselves now being sent packing, which means only one thing: the throne is now left empty and defenseless, and the path to glory is now a free for all for anyone who dares to rise above and claim the crown.
Now we kick off the semifinals of MWI at EWC 2025. Two dark horses who evolved into title contenders. So make some noise for your first semifinalist, Gaming Gladiator!
Aria, let's go! Okay lah guys adalah juga lah guys daripada Malaysia. Okey lah guys, Aria pun daripada Malaysia bro. Betul tak? Ya, kita sokong Aria. Ini Aria guys Let's go. English aku rasa English better lah English.
Reaching top 4, led by Ashley. This team is ready to redeem and his glory on the grand
ini semifinal bro.
Can they defy the odds and secure the first grand finals for a name?
Aria abang kat sini. Aria abang kat sini. Ya. Ada pemilik Aria tak sini tak guys? Ada pemilik Aria tak guys? Oh, ini kuat juga ni. Ini kuat juga ni guys. Ini pasukan yang benamkan Onyx Pertiwi guys Onyx pada Indonesia bos Jangan risau Untuk Onyx jangan risau. Aria akan balas dendam untuk Onyx, okey? Onyx kena santai, okey? Ya, untuk Onyx jangan risau ya. Untuk Onyx jangan risau, okey? So guys jadi dekat sini guys kita akan panggil lah. Kita akan call Atras daripada Malaysia bro Boleh bos? Kita akan call Atras daripada Malaysia, boleh? Boleh bos Ni kuat juga ni bos. Korang jangan ketawa lah bos. Oi nah. Dia Aduh. Let's go everybody, let's go.
The whole arena when they entered, it shook and shuddered.
Bulu mata runcing. Ya.
Yeah, we could even hear.
Guys, ini semifinal tau. Bos, ini semifinal bos. Semoga Aria pergi ni kan. Semoga diorang pergi ke mana guys Semoga diorang pergi ke mana ni? Pergi ke grand final lah guys untuk Aria Sayang kan patutnya Malaysia. bagi aku kan Malaysia sebenarnya untuk Navi Navi MY sebenarnya kuat guys kan. Diorang silap pecah utara banyak benda guys kan. Diorang banyak rugi game. Diorang banyak rugi match. Diorang rugi match dekat mana guys kan? Diorang rugi match dekat bagi aku masa melawan dengan pasukan PH tu. Masa melawan dengan tim Liquid PH. Sebenarnya diorang boleh pergi tau. Diorang Navi sebenarnya tempat dia tau kat sini tau. Aku rasa Navi MY berlawan dengan TLPH sebenarnya sepatutnya dekat sini. Sayang babe. Sebenarnya Navi MY antara yang terbaik juga guys dorang bos. Setuju tak korang guys? Kau tengok mata dia, kenapa mata dia ada dua bro?
Full of character, just that's just I gotta say for these teams and
Forever Techis boleh Forever Techis kasih faham awak untuk Zeno nanti kita main Zeno
the dark horses and
Guys, tolong guys bantuan tap layar guys yang baru masuk guys siapa-siapa yang nak mendapatkan madu daripada Abinal guys untuk mendapatkan tenaga dalaman yang paling nice.
alright. I dark for Terror Queens because
Okay, guys,
if I remember it correctly when they face up against Navi PH also there's this tendency for them that
Okay guys, kalau macam tu guys kita nak aku nak ni guys aku nak call Ultra Malaysia kita Ultra Malaysia kita guys
it's not every day that we see female players do that, but same goes for Gaming Gladiators. I mean, Ashley has been the center of their strength, all those initiations. So there's a formidable force for Gaming Gladiators in front, but same goes with the Anders
madu dia
for Terror Queens.
nak bagi ni guys.
It's a good clash between
Madu dia
those
baru power apa?
ideologies. But again, it all boils down to the draft and even execution of these players.
So now the
Oi.
question is, with what we mentioned earlier about
Hey!
the Queens applying a lot of pressure onto the opposing goal,
Abid, terima kasih Abid for the trendnya Abid. Semoga banyak rezeki dunia dan akhirat everybody kata terima baik. Abid my brother abangku terima kasih Abid. Steady Abid. Banyak Abid. Steady Abid Brother terima kasih Abid Itu adalah hadiah yang terbaik Abid nanti ingat Abid. Untuk hadiah tu nanti aku beli rokok Winston. Abid kena Nobar tak ni Abid? Mari Abid Nobar sini Abid. Kejap aku call Atra dulu Abid
I feel like that's a little bit more in line with how Terror Queens likes to play.
Halo, Assalamualaikum Abang Jojo.
Beat them at their own game. I think it's
Abang
a
Jojo.
good attitude considering it is impressive.
Dah boleh masuk panggil Ultra semua panggil Ultra masuk dah boleh masuk Ultra semua. Dah boleh panggil dah boleh. Dah boleh panggil semua join meeting Mr. M dah. Dah guys get ready guys
The bands coming through. Kalea, Baxia, Arla taken out. We have Uranus, YSS.
Let's go to Aria, let's go.
Banned out in the first phase here.
Oh, I was thinking if this team would
Let's go,
prioritize
Bosco!
on the team, looking at my co-palace reaction, it's gonna be Hilda, probably because for Gaming Gladiators.
Malam nanti sudah start cuti sampai Senin. Okey, cantik macam muka. Tapi satu malam aku tak ada tau. Satu malam aku join konten ni. Aku join konten Haki Nayan.
Just to somehow do the
Konten
sold
Squid Game.
outs. And here's a fun fact.
Ashley guys kasih faham Ashley Okey guys.
she currently has 91 total assists, the most
Okey guys untuk apa dekat sini apa yang kita nampak dekat sini guys
so TQ as
band daripada pasukan para pasukan ni Mata Dajjal guys daripada Mata Dajjal iaitu Terror Queen guys dia mengeluarkan Kalia Bakzia dengan Alot guys manakala pasukan untuk GG Aria Esport guys mengeluarkan Uranus mengeluarkan Yu Sansi mengeluarkan Cici guys So pengambilan Hilda adalah pick hero pertama dan diikuti dengan siapa ni dengan Eretel dan Joy. Okey. So pengambilan untuk pasukan GG mengambil Lance Saul bersama Granger. Diorang memang minat Granger lah guys Ashley ke King? Ashley je. Nak bagi alamat negeri mana ni? Okey, untuk abang untuk Malaysia Esport Federation cuma nak bagi tahu dekat Malaysia MESF Sebenarnya Ashley ni orang kota tinggi, orang Johor baru, orang kota tinggi. Membesar dekat US. TMY ada lagi tak? TMY dah tak ada bro. Yang tinggal Aria guys. Yang tinggal Aria kan tengok bulu mata Ashley. Bulu mata dia saja boleh membantai pasukan kejap lagi. Nanti dia akan membantai. Baru tu pemain, warisan. Dia pemain warisan. Dia cuma membesar dekat US. Apa pendapat abang dengan coach Aish Nabi? Aish Nabi dia okey, perlukan pembelajaran cuma dia tak konsisten. Sebenarnya tim Navi MY ni tim Navi MY dah antara terbaik. Dah terbaik ke tim Navi MY? Navi MY terbaik dah bos. Kau tengok Ashley bulu mata dia guys Kau nampak tak guys? Jangan sampai
my vote would have to
Ashley
a big
tangkap.
call there, the road.
Orang guys
I think I would
Ada duduk New Zealand guys tadi. Aria, Aria. Aria ni.
So just for them to
Aria tetap hati Ada peminat Aria tak hari ni guys Ada peminat Aria ke?
like how Gaming Gladiators is actually banning the Zas.
Wih, ramai kat stadium guys.
Nice against an Esmeralda.
Ramai kat stadium guys.
Now for Gaming Gladiators, they need
Masalah kat stadium ramai guys.
for
Saya peminat, ada peminat dia ke GG ni collab dengan Homeboy ke dulu ke?
a ban.
GG ni collab dengan Homeboys.
Okay, so
Entah. Yelah kot.
wins for their pot.
Bro kena ajar mesti bro. Mesti kena ajar bro. Mesti saya ajar bro
Possibly, I like the bans coming through from GG. It's full respect, right? Usually
Okay bos yang baru masuk welcome guys welcome to the stream bos
aggression in the early game against Assassins. We've seen that time and time again. The Zas, on top of everything that you mentioned, is also a respect ban against Lunalyn, considering her Zas was one of the main reasons why the Fanny from Onyx failed to have that
Ashley orang Kelantan Masih orang Kelantan
early towards the mid game. It's also sitting at a 50% win rate. She
guys jangan lupa tengok BTT ketua guys berkenaan dengan kata-kata azimat kata-kata azimat BTT ketua tu. Kalau kau rasa kata-kata azimat tu terbaik, aku nak korang bantu like, comment and share guys bantu like, comment and share boleh tak bos? Sayuri orang Jamaloi Squid Game dah shooting ke je? Dah settle lah. Squid Game saya dah settle.
That's what I do as a Filipino. Okay, so for the second phase, that's another comfort actually for Ashley with the high loss. So they really wanted a stable front for the road.
And they wanna somehow put off a speed also for some of the
Let's go. Okay. Hilda, Iritel, Joy, Lapu-Lapu, Zuzin. Wih.
combo every time they get the Hilda. So with the Lapu, it is expected that
Tapi diorang tak,
it is
orang
to
rasa
die
tak ni
against the Granger. I'm just
Bagi
not
aku
sure
kan,
about, the matchup up
baik dia bang,
against,
Esme.
Esmeralda
Ada
early
burst
game.
bro.
So,
Burst tak ada tau ni.
definitely it is crucial
Untuk
for
Terror
the
Queen tak ada burst langsung.
skills.
Macam mana diorang nak benamkan guys nak benamkan Esmeralda.
So the last pick here of game
Terang-terang Joy lagi lepak dalam Esmeralda. Dia boleh ambil shield daripada Lapu, dia boleh ambil shield daripada siapa? Daripada Hilda. Dekat sini guys Cuma Zuzin je tengok macam mana guys
that it can
Aku suka draft daripada GG guys
Granger go for the high ground, but it looks like the Valentina is going to be picked up here. Interesting Valentina.
Aku suka draft daripada GG bro. Makanan Esme tu, ya. Kita tengok lah. Semoga ada sinar. Yang penting tak apalah guys Apa yang diorang nak bawa lah. Yang penting kita sokong Aria bos boleh tak guys? Kita sokong Aria bos boleh
damage. Welcome to the
Tapi Zuzin kacau juga. Zuzin kacau. Betul tu. Zuzin kacau. Tapi kita tengok macam mana nanti. Kalau dia sampai ke mid game. Kalau andai kata jadi Esme jadi end. Ini adalah mara bencana guys. Yang penting tak kisahlah apa-apa dia nak bawa. Yang penting kita sokong Aria guys
Battle of Gaming Gladiators.
Let's go bos let's go. Untuk game yang pertama.
Kina together with me is Mirko.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the land of Dawn.
Bunyi Chano. Ya memang. Je bunyi. Ya Allah. Glory street lah guys.
Gaming Gladiators. Go ahead and check out the link also. Earlier we saw
Asal pula ni kena restriction.
for MWI.
You can just scan the QR code right now, scanning onto the map.
Kena restriction lah guys.
Heading on to game number 1. Very strong contenders being marked as the dark
Restriction lah.
horse.
Sekejap kan aku
for
ni
MWI.
aku end live jap. Aku end live jap.
So far,
Tak boleh ke kena end live? Aku nak end live jap. Aku nak end live ni.
running favorites.
Aduh,
right?
restriction.
Powerhouses here on MWI. And looking at the draft itself, there were certain things, in my opinion, that Terrafins just got the gist of it, like banning out certain heroes versus Gaming Gladiators, and mostly looking at the early good pickup of the Hilda's full.
Sekejap guys Korang tengok kat sini lah. Kau tengok kat YT lah. Tengok YT.
I had in the draft in the first phase, yes.
Dia kena
As Hannah
resist pula,
pointed out,
guys.
That was already a great way to shut down the landslide of the Granger that obviously I think was expected. When you're up against Gaiman, I think now you will expect the Granger and the landslide, or at least just assassins on Nicolette plus the Granger.
Kena restriction bro.
Clean that up really well into the second phase, right? I mean, right now Nicolette doing a lot of damage over the Cool.
wait.
Aria's coming in. This should be first blood, and it is too aggressive from Cool. Wow. Look at the fans in the building for GG.
For Nicolette also, she just doesn't want to have a kind of a negative deduction onto her 100% win rate
Tengok lagi
right
aku.
away.
Kau dengar nak tengok ke guys?
And so far,
Ramai tak dekat ni, dekat YT?
they just want to punish everyone that's over.
Boleh pula restriction guys
Same goes for for Terra Queens right now. A bit of a question there.
Udah
for
guys,
Drew.
masuk
But
tim.
you know that that is some of the factors that you would want to pick up on Hilda this early, right? To check on to somehow navigate through the bushes on where Nicolette might be hiding or might be going in. Speaking of going in, there's Cool yet again being punished here by Aria with a falling Starman also.
Rui walking up, able to get the stacks already. No stun from Huang, but Aria, is able to run away for a bit as the electrifying beats gets her down.
Okay.
Rui able to escape now, so Yori has the Crimson Beacon, gets lifted up by Lancer Flare. Will be able to get the Crimson Beacon now.
Titipan aja, titik kena ni guys.
Follows through with her own flicker to get the last shot in. Panda kiting away, rotating to the fight as the
Oh, tiba-tiba kena dipop pula.
Astra picking up the kill now as Nicolette jumps in the puncture and gets behind the Lancer Flare. Who's right there? Swinging that War Axe. Rui picks up the turtle, and it's a win for Terra Queens.
That is a nice risk here for Terra Queens, although it might look a bit messy, but that's the thing. Messy is somewhat what you would
Aduh,
want
kecoh lah guys
Gladiators, more on the systematic approach here. But looking at our instant replay, just Lunalin throwing all those ladder flare snow snares is stacking up. And even Sayori there was forced with the flicker just to try and disengage onto the fight. But the one thing is for sure here, Rui has most of the control on the map, has the mobility, and the moment Nicolette was down, that was just a free turtle for Terra.
Great start to the game here for Terra Queens again.
Okay.
Gladiators are here in the arena. You guys can come over as well. Watch. It's free ticket, free entry for you guys if you want to support Gaming Gladiators or Terra Queens in the SNB arena.
But we could see a rise onto the supporters here for Gaming Gladiators, right? Because of yesterday's matches, of course. But most of all, right now for Terra Queens, it's really important to somehow shut down the early game, knowing that you have the Hildy on your hands, and you also have Lunalin with the Jushin. This is what exactly are they supposed to do, but Ashley, on the other hand, having a hard time.
Oh, Rui jumping in, Ashley has the glorious pathway, but Rui is a bit too lethal. Electrified beats her determined. Sayori still holds on to the Crimson Beacon. Aria just walked into 4. And she will be punished.
Macam baru tadi. Bogok tu. Benda-benda dah ada whitelist kot. Bongok ah.
Right there for Terra Queens.
Kita tengok sini lah guys
Going on out of their way.
Bosan lah guys.
The members here from Gaming Gladiators onto using their ultimates this early. 1v1 onto the jungle.
Kuat lah guys Terra
Rui
Queen ni.
versus
Sumpah
Nicolette
Terra
there.
Queen kuat dah guys.
Quite a hard impact there
Terra
onto
Queen ni kuat
Nicolette,
lah bro.
especially onto the first blood. But Terra Queens on the other hand, very relaxed hands. And
Terra
we're
Queen ni kuat bro.
liking how things are going onto the way that they control the wave, and as well as trying to predict where Aria and Ashley might go. And right now, they're being showed out. They're being denied, even onto the vision here for the second turtle of the round. 4 members in. There's going to be a lantern flare going in. Sayori with the terrifies.
Little Lin, Cawthorn, Road's already there. Rui still wins out the retreat battle.
Kuat guys Terra Queen.
Aria trying to get away, but gets caught by Rui, who's on a killing spree. Sayori in the mid lane trying to clear out the waves as Hlang keeps on pushing in. Good Terrify down. Nicolette has to be careful. Has a minute for the puncture, but she actually missed it earlier. Ku dives in under turret, gets the kill. Rui gets blacked for the damage, but is still able to escape. GG. No damage to execute the low members of Terra Queens.
And this is why the panel was also talking about getting somewhat of a burst like a Farsa on the mid lane, right? You would want a Sayori to be explosive as much as possible. Yes, Valentina has some of that damage as well, but mostly she also relies on who to target when she uses her ultimate onto copying. And looking at the goal difference right now, some of it is going onto the hands of Terra Queens, equally distributed. But let's take a closer look onto mid to mid, and even the gold to gold actually already has a huge lead. And another turret destroyed here for Sakoshi's lane.
This is looking bad for Gaming Gladiators. Amazing.
Gila ay.
Terra Queens. 3,000
What boss?
gold lead already with so much damage output early on. GG have not respected.
Ada
that
dance play
damage
player
output
rumah paling
potential
comel dah
of
handsome.
Terra Queens, and they're really getting punished for it. Blank? Interesting bravest fighter there. I guess there's a reason it's called bravest fighter. Nicolette.
You just have to be brave. You just have to take the leap of
Yeah.
faith. But Rui, on the other hand, versus Aria and Nicolette, might be somewhat of a bait hope around here onto the jungle. But that is the glorious pathway used is early here for Ashley. Things are not looking good here for Gaming Gladiators. We could definitely feel them somewhat being peeled off little by little here by Terra Queens, being hunted down constantly, right? And for Panda 1, she also is having a hard time just farming up, even getting those stacks. But Sikoshi, on the other hand, doesn't have any problem with that at all.
Oh man, we're seeing the glimpses of the Aria we saw on the group stage early on at least. Walking up a bit too aggressively, maybe a bit too overconfident on the Esmeralda.
Right.
She gets herself punished. Lunalin gets away. Halang goes with Bravest Fighter, gets out too. It's just a distraction. It's done over.
Power sangat
It's
Tino.
cool for the flying
Tapi
out.
late game boleh ni.
Pando's gonna be isolated from the team. Ashley walks back, goes to the peel now. Cool there. That's gonna be the electrifying beast. Not you just yet. Great flicker from Panda as Aria tries her best to get the falling star moon down.
This is a very good juggle for Terror Queens. They just wasted a lot of time here for Gaming Gladiators. You have Nicolette targeting Sikoshi. Manage to still back away. Cool constantly harassing her. Prowess of Hilda, of course, but for Terror Queens, they're just playing it right, playing their cards right, limiting, overstaying their welcome here onto Gaming Gladiators.
Kuat juga pas mana orang.
The way Aria is playing, I really would enjoy seeing her on a Phobius. You know, like, it's all about that all-in. It's all about diverting attention from the rest of the team. But the Esmeralda just feels way too squishy in this game against the composition for the plan in hand. It seems like the plan is like, you just want to fight it out, right?
And of course, even with the ultimate, it's just not hitting yet, yeah? You know you have to somewhat kind of have that accuracy, and it's not happening yet here for Aria. And I do agree with the Phobius. It wasn't banned out earlier into the draft, but let's see how will this play out for Gaming Gladiators, because right now they're being kept at bay, and Terror Queens just goes and shows up each of the lanes right now. Another turret destroyed, by the way, onto the bottom side, which means that Terror Queens will just extend the territory here, and the constant punish onto the mid lane yet again.
Crimson Beacon to run away, but Aria's already down. Nicolette forced to puncture defensively. Palang's going for some shots, but Panda right there. Ashley actually holding her own, getting the kill onto Lunalin. All alone as Panda walks up, but still doesn't deal enough damage to take the frontliners down. As Sikoshi continues to free farm in the side lane.
But still, there's the question. Aria still going on head on. To get head on, Ashley will pull down Nicolette onto tree. Oh,
Dodging all about this. Dodging going for the stun as well.
Sekejap guys
Big resources. Nicolette.
Sedih lah guys. Sebab apa no?
Moves now. Bravest Fighter. Already used up with the stun as well. And the back by Sikoshi just dives into the.
Cuba kita tengok lagi YT lah guys
Kiting it away. It'll still be a trade 1-for-1. But Nicolette will have to be careful here. Ruiz walking up electrified beast. Nicolette gets the puncture out perfectly. Sayori walks up, gets terrified down. Ku will not take the last turret shot and will be able to get away.
okay, that was a heavy sacrifice here, but Sikoshi still managed to finally get Panda 1, but on the middle lane. Ku and Aria is going for the shutdown here. So it'll be a ladder player.
Aria, crazy move, gets brought back and she capitalizes on it.
Okay. Cyclone Eye just to get away. Langrina hot on her.
Dia take the ban.
Just chasing her down. It's going to be a long chase right now.
Lepas lah guys. Dah lah birthday boy macam ni ke? Dia layan birthday boy guys
But still, props to Aria.
Sebab tu dia tak boleh layan macam ni tau, birthday boy tau bro. Tolak bro. Dia tak boleh layan macam ni bro.
Koshi ran her down, man. She basically said, yo, you got those dance moves, but what color is your Ducati?
Mine is red, right?
Guys, mana-mana belum follow dekat saya punya channel YT saya, channel YouTube saya. Follow guys
Looking at the low right now, being danced around. Might be a bait here for Terror Queens. And
Okay,
Yori going down.
Rui just wreaking havoc in the back, and Ashley falls as well. A big sky piercer stack, make it 2.
Dua.
Lunalin on the juice in as Nicolette is forced back.
Guys, hijau-hijau dulu bro guys. Dekat TikTok guys. Dekat YT guys.
Free neutral objective for the Terror Queens.
And even Luna's reaction was like, what? I did that? Like looking at the insert replay right now, that was a huge play. Just catching Sayori off guard plus Panda.
Uish, Korea
That's
bro.
all the
Asyik satu kelas saya dulu, kelas bom. Ya.
just did whatever they could do just to zone them out, keep Nicolette at bay. Lord now marching onto the bottom side, looking at the items. Well, things are looking good, really good right now for Sikoshi. Already have the Malefic gone. It's another additional headache here for Gaming Gladiators. And as we mentioned, a global one now for Luna Lin. It's become
Oi, di cantik.
That might be a big mistake. Heavy crossbow.
Cantik, cantik, cantik.
Almost can't
Region mana tu, Ju? Region mana tu, Jeb?
Sayori.
Gaming Gladiator laku US Not Amerika Tak tahu lah, not Amerika ke apa, guys.
Jumps on and Thorn rolls as well with a phantom execution. Gets dove on now. Maku's gonna be isolated in front as Panda goes for the shots and will be able to pick up another kill with a Sky Piercer. Sakoshi running away. Chase now as Ashley goes for it. Sayori, Crimson Beacon, terrifying.
Ui.
Sakoshi goes in.
Aria cantik, Aria. Cantik tu.
Panda, Rose Gold Meteor, bought in time, dodging into the stairs. Aria walks back up to provide.
Lagi. Nice tu.
Panda's a maniac, and Gaming Gladiators are back.
Gila gempak, bro.
That's the thing. Gaming Gladiators is a very
Aria dah jadi, Aria dah jadi.
right. They already managed to do that in their previous games. And looking at the Acer play, they just needed Sayori to go on to the front, even if it's at the cost of her life. As long as Panda remains on top, as long as her Panda lands those kill shots, lands those bullets, that's a safe route to go here for Gaming Gladiators. Securing a Maniac, I could only imagine how much of an impact it could deliver. And you don't have to imagine, it happened real time right now for Gaming Gladiators. And now, it's going to be a terrifying crew. Just have to back away. But let's talk about the huge advantage. But before all of that, Gaming Gladiators just eyeing members here from Terra Queen.
Habis tengok je buat disiplin.
Definitely see it, right?
Bapak gempak Zan. Boleh menang, boleh ni. Bertahan sikit, bertahan sikit. Aria ada ni. Aria boleh absorb dia orang punya damage. Dia punya shield. Sabar sikit je.
Into a Hilda. See, no other team would do that. But they got Panda, who's a Granger savant.
Yeah.
They've got Nicolette with a 100% win rate on that Lancelot. So far, we've seen a glimpse of that. Can they continue? Ruri's pathway getting him out. Ashley still has the vitalizers. Rui jumps into the back, and Ashley will be taken down. Rui goes in for the electrifying beats. Lands an execution. Nicolette looking for the assassination. Goes for the Thorn Rose. Lantern Flare, the Crimson Beacon brings her back, but Aria jumps back in, and it's going to be Panda with a monster kill. Looking for Luna Lin, hiding away. 1-for-1 XP for Rome.
But still, for Gaming Gladiators with that kill, that's another addition here for Panda. Even if we could see Turquoise still has a somewhat of an advantage onto the network, even onto the kill score. But right now, you cannot say that it's one-sided, right? But right now, for Gaming Gladiators, exactly on point. 64 stacks onto her Sky Piercer. Like, man, this is what you want. This is a dream. This is what you want if you want to somehow go for the comeback if you're the Granger. And as you've mentioned, she is a Granger specialist. Just eyeing out those targets. Ashley going in.
Rui still wins it out there. Ashley gonna be caught in the electrifying beats now. Sakoshi does damage over to Ashley, taking her down. Both frontliners out for game, and the Terra Queens are back on track.
Sometimes
Rui.
the Terra Queens are just waiting also until who to extend. They have the damage, they have the advantage. So it wouldn't be a problem if it is the tankiest hero frontlining for Gaming Gladiators, right? They just need to do it as fast as possible, because if they can't do that, then there's going to be Panda and even Nicolette just trying to survive, trying to wiggle their way through the defense here for Terra Queens. Speaking of defense, Gaming Gladiators left to defend for their base right now. Looking at the in-game equipment as well, it's going to be a lock icon build for both of her gold laners. Finishing off with the Rose Gold here for the Granger, but Panda!
One last
Ui.
shot. Great peel from
Sa-
Luna Lin, but she puts herself in
Oi.
the Star Moon. A kite back
Okay,
away.
nice, cantik.
Panda's godlike.
Cantik, cantik!
Wee, Nicolette jumping in with the potion.
Boy, Nicolette.
Execution over. With a
Gila!
the shutdown, buying the Rose Gold. Sayori has Crimson Beacon, but she's gonna need it up against Rui. Dashing away, blinking away now. Rui going for the play, but it's terrifying.
Pusing dia.
Nicolette to find another. Ashley just clapping her
Pusing
hands.
dia.
3 minutes, Nicolette. Claim
Cey! Nicolette guys, power bongok. Lesrok dia bapak kelas ya Nicolette.
Gaming Gladiators, what a play here for Nicolette. That was a bloody bloodbath there.
Oh, Ina guys.
Even at the cost of a
Nicolette, boss!
defending their base.
For you, bro. Gameplay dia, bro.
This isn't the team to be scared of that
Bapak
easily.
Nicolette,
They took
bapak
their
jago, bro.
risk, and they know that that is something to take it. And for Nicolette also, what a great dash and a great move, making most of the it off the bushes. And even for Panda, even before going down, she managed to take what, around 2 to 3 members, delivering the final blow. Then Nicolette just doing her thing with her Lancelot. And this is why you should respect her mechanical skills, right? You should respect her Lancelot. Man.
Jago bro, macam laki bro gameplay dia bro.
Glaze, well, we gotta give props to Sayori too for enabling that. And just shows you how much the Valentina can play in the game. I mean, at least in the team fights, right? You see that impact that terrifies the stolen Crimson Beacon that lets her blink so many times to evade from an easy kill. She literally had to bait, or sorry, Terror Queens had to use all their resources to get Sayori down.
Just so you guys know, we've mentioned
Lagi susah ada orang ni
Sayori really is
untuk
the
Terror
form of
Queen.
a carry. Like you could see it exuding on her aura. She has that charisma. And with using the Crimson Beacon, I do agree with you that she is one the most curious person up against right now if you're Terror Queens. Because she's wasting so much of your time, she's wasting so much of your energy.
Nicolette
But actually falling down, Nicolette from the back, Artis Ikoshi!
able to get the unstoppable there, finding the assassination by immortality as well.
Bapak dia sempat lagi saya.
Nicolette able to get the Thorn Rose in time into the
Gila Nicolette guys.
to secure the kill. Rui sees an
Eh.
angle to end the game. The base is wide open. Rui's gonna go for a Panda with a flicker forward. Rui take a low.
Wow! What a game bro.
Like a triple kill, but at the same time,
Gila guys.
to save your base, to survive this round.
Gila.
1 HP. Rui was a hit away
Wih,
from claiming game 1.
power bro.
It's Game and Gladiators will get a free Lord. Panda.
Satu proses lagi satu hit ya.
These women. It's not over till it's over. They saw the base get targeted down by a late game Joy, but they did not waver.
Babak power babe, GG.
Shooting everything out to save the game. This. Welcome to MWI 2025.
That's a perfect example of never giving up until the very last drop of the HP of your crystal. Now for Gaming Gladiators, they're just doing it. They're just somehow keeping a cool head right now. If that was me, I would just shout, let go of my device, but for them, no. But on the other hand, Rui, okay, she will be able to just go ahead and go back, but on to the top lane, Terrapins is having a hard time right now. But still, for Gaming Gladiators, totally outmaneuvering Terrapins right there. Like, we see you, don't panic, just chill, we got this.
Play with the puncture, able to get the orange buff now.
Halfway.
Rui's already used electrifying beast. They're gonna capitalize on this. Rui has the immortality. Good stun onto Sayori. Still in the back, getting the revitalizes.
Okay.
Nicolette tries to jump onto Koshi. Now it's gonna be Lantern Flare over to Aria. Pops into the ground. Can she get away in time now? She goes out. Nicolette doing a lot of damage with the AoE of the Thorn Rose.
Kelas Aria.
Push TQ back.
And it's official, we finally reached the round, the facing inside the game.
Seru game ni sumpah lah dah tak boleh like kat TikTok. Cipet ni kalau aku like kat TikTok kena ban aku, kena B aku, tak nak aku tak nak biar lantak.
Terrapins has the advantage. Turret wise.
Kalau aku like kat TikTok ni habis.
80 stacks right now where Panda's Sky Piercer. This girl, you have to get someone to keep an eye or to totally lock her down. And 30 by the way for Lunaline Sky Piercer. They have the damage. What's happening?
Okay guys, aku nak menyeru bos Aku nak menyeru semua ni guys Aku nak menyeru siapa ni?
Jumps even for Langerina and Blue.
Guys, aku nak menyeru korang guys pergi dekat aku punya ni guys
Langerina or even Blue, right? And same goes for Gaming Gladiators. But
guys, aku menyeru korang pergi dekat aku punya YT saya guys YT pergi orang pergi YT. Tak boleh aku tak boleh teruskan live dekat aku punya TikTok bos Korang pergi YT aku bos. Ini game yang paling best guys semua pergi dekat YT saya bos Apa gempak kau. Sumpah ini Gaming Gladiator ni sumpah best guys InsyaAllah.
Now it becomes a slow game once again. The gold lead completely gone for Terror Queens, now in the hands of Game and Gladiators. They look to control the neutral objective here. Bottom lane was already slow push. Nicolette now getting the mid prio is Aria.
Ya, aku nak semua pergi sini YT. Aku tak nak kena B. Kalau kena B lepak dah.
Used up.
Susah bro kalau kena B bro. Betul tak?
They just want to try and deny Terqueen's vision.
Betul tak? Kalau kena B susah bro.
That is a huge.
Mana gamenya je tak ada. Aku nak korang pergi dekat TT. Semua pergi TT. TT aku. Pergi YT. Aku nak korang support aku kat YT. Pergi kat YT support aku. Okay. Weh, game ni best. Sumpah. Cakap engkau. Ini kelas. Gini cakap engkau main yang seru bro. Ini baru nampak play bro. Gila bro game ni. Weh, mati Aria. Alamak. Kuatnya. Astagfirullahalazim, overcommit pula lah. Hai si panda ni bro. Berapa orang main set? Semua pergi YT lah. Pergi YT. Dia pergi dekat YT bos Pergi dekat YT aku. Pergi YT tu easy project.
To try and disrupt them, try and delay things up here for Rui and Lamrina to actually start.
Berapa orang semua sen? Berapa orang semua apa tu?
In the position right now without Sikoshi, I think this will be a very messy.
Ya, bantu tak lu.
If ever Terqueens would like to force that, but
game ni pun dah seru ya. Game 1 pun dah seru bro.
Ashley, and even for gaming gladiators, they also have to consider the fact that their minion wave isn't looking good right now. So Nicolette is also trying to leave some of the pressure onto the top lane before starting anything. But Rui is cutting on to Nicolette. There's
solid bro.
Chase. Ooh, pathway.
Okay.
Force out from
Jumpa sana
Good backup. Wave in the bottom lane now better for Terqueens. The goalies for GG, but everything else for Terqueens. Tempo on the map. Lanes obviously slow pushing constantly towards Gaiman's base. I think they have a lot of damage down now. Lang jumps in with the wave of spider.
Seliao.
Sit down. That's a bit of ground used up already. So
Oi.
Beacon able to escape a little bit, gets the kill on Aria as Rui walks up to Yuri. Gets the kill back on Rui. Ashley
Babu
looks to peel.
Tak sayangnya Ashley.
Able to escape on lands and flares. Nicolette walks back up. Panda, Rhapsody hiding away. Little in caught in the bad spot now as Panda gets dove on. Now Malang won't be able to get the stun.
Nicolette.
Nicolette throwing rolls. Now no
GG.
sure. And Panda runs away.
GG.
Fadeaway shots from Sikoshi will get herself a triple kill to end game number 1.
And this might be it for Terqueens, just waiting for the next wave of minions to finally join them onto ending the base, ending the crystal here for Terqueens. And now they're this close to miracle. And with that, Terqueens will be getting the first game win on their semi-finals against Gaming Gladiators.
And as expected, we expected for every game we're going to be
Tu sebab orang PTV kena berantai kau guys. Betul tak?
The series off. Guns blazing.
Oi, kau kuat.
More on the directive of being aggressive, out-maneuvering Nicolette there and even Panda.
Kuat guys. Serius kuat.
It's not a comeback for Terqueens, but in the way it was a win early to a comeback for GG to another comeback from Terqueens.
Seru bro, seru.
That is just game number 1, like note. And I'm glad I'm not on the panel. Like, how do you break that up for game number 1? With that, right on cue, let's call on over Ranmar, Eterna, and Chantel to bring us the details for game 1.
Hey, we are good over here, Athena. Everything that we've set up in the pre-show, the analysis to lead into this game number 1, we saw everything. The importance of controlling the center of the map, the Granger for Panda, Sikoshi's mechanics, everything popped up. That was an insane way to start off our semifinals.
Again, for Gaming Gladiators and Terqueens, they know their power spikes. And this is a masterful usage, specifically for Nicolette. A lot of highlights for her, but at the same time, it's all about control for Terqueens. One way or another, we thought that it was Gaming Gladiators winning the game.
Dah aku kena receiver lah, kena shadow ban bro.
Finish the game by Rui, then you have the defense. But then again, Terqueens, they know the capacity of their heroes and eventually forcing Gaming to somehow have that decline in their strength.
Absolutely. I think when it comes down to pure mechanics and skill, both teams are on par. But I feel like in game number 1, what we saw and how Terqueens were able to find their comeback,
Itu sakit.
you can consider that as a comeback. is
Tak ada percaturan
their
masuk dorang lah, guys.
knowledge of the macro. I think there were a lot of moments where Gaming Gladiators
Iya, lu ikut dorang jago ikut dorang guys.
which allowed opportunities for Rui, like you mentioned, on the Joy to go in for that final push into the base, despite it actually not going in favor of them. The potential and the fact that the opportunity was there, I think GG really needs to not forget on the side lane control. And unfortunately, in that final bout, obviously, it was all pressure on a GG. Despite them being able to come back in terms of economy, the fact that they already lost that inhibitor turret in the bottom side of the map, with the Lord spawning in the top side of the map, it gave Terra Queens a little bit less pressure and more leeway to play around that Lord dance.
Yeah,
Gila,
guys. You were a little bit 50-50 on the draft. Looking at it now, I saw why you thought that. Even though Gaming Gladiators' timing came a little bit later into the game and then they were able to take control. But then I want to add to that where it felt like the 50-50 for Terra Queens were just a little bit easier to pull off considering that their power spike stopping all of the rotations and the info getting that Ashley wanted to do.
And also speaking of Jushin, there were a lot of moments that were in the Crimson Beacon was used as early as possible just to somehow set up the tempo in initiating against Gaming Gladiators. So parts of the early game, it was literally Terror Queens dictating the tempo of the game. But if you look at the damage dealt, I really like that we get to see Lunalin and Rui's damage, and even with the Sekoshi near for them three, because it just means that in terms of rotation, they know the capacity of their heroes with the help of the Hilda and other heroes as well from Terror Queens.
Yeah, and I think that Hilda Rome was such a massive pick there for Terror Queens because they showed that right away. They said, we're looking at Nicolette. So Koo says, I don't know if it was her call, but she was like, all right, Hilda first pick. Go ahead, give it to me. What else can you say about the Hilda for Terror Queens?
They knew it was a really good massive counterplay. And I think when the Assassins ran rampant in the meta, even in the male mlbb scene, we saw the Hilda and the Khalid being one of the main focuses against Assassins because of the pressure and the tempo breaking for the rotations of a particular jungler. So we got to see that come to play. The reason which I was quite 50-50 was also because of the lane matchups. Obviously, in the early matchups, we saw that the Iritel had a little bit of a better time against Panda. So the fact that Panda, despite that pressure, being able to make that turn-around moment at 12th minute to get that Maniac, I think that was one of the main reasons why GG were able to come back. So it's not necessarily easy for us to take a look at the drafts per se, because in terms of execution, things went a little bit differently than I expected.
Yeah, and two players who executed their role to near perfection in that game number one are our two mid laners.
Wow.
Very vocal, very active. If you were watching the player cams closely, and her Juicin was a menace, but Sayori as well on this Valentina as a sometimes Juicin cosplay was one of the reasons as to why Gaming Gladiators were able to turn things around.
Juga saya Lunalin ni.
Surprisingly so, because looking at the drafts, honestly, I didn't really like the Valentina. I saw
really
the point later on as she was executing it in the game, but against a Jushin in the mid lane, I think she did struggle a little bit when it came down to wave clear. So the rotations were heavily in favor of TQ, and that's how they were able to gain control. Now, the thing that I didn't consider is how good Sayori is on the Valentina during team fights. Very intelligent plays.
Guys, aku rasa macam nak ger lah guys. Aku lah Tito tak ada macam semangat sih aku guys. Kau tengok lah bos
It's okay for her not to be part of the
fights
as long as she is
bangga gua hilang lah bos kalau
skill. So
lama Tito gua lama Tito aku tak kena B tadi guys
A huge of a deal already for Gaming Gladiators and even the usage of a Crimson Beacon. Now early game it was a Lunalin just using those players, but at the same time Sayori has to answer with a carry price. So it was just a mixture of a push and pull for both phosphors or mages, as to why we could see that some parts of the game it is them actually initiating against each other.
Yeah, and looking at these stats, Panda with the highest damage per minute, Koo with her almost unstoppable just desire to get vision and frontline for the team, Nicolette with the highest gold per minute, and of course I feel like that was one of the most important things and why they were able to turn things around. By the time Terror Queens were going into the base, Nicolette already just had an endless battle built up. And I believe that is one of the main sequences that we are going to be looking closely at.
Terima kasih sahabat, terima kasih.
A key moment in that
Nice.
game number 1. Is that the one that we picked out?
Terima kasih
I think it
atas
was around the
wishnya
12
sahabat.
minutes. So when we've mentioned
Nice,
actually
brother.
there is the power spike already, or somehow there is a fatigue on the lineup or the hero composition of Terror Queens. So it was around 12 minutes. Let me show you that clip. Yes, it was Terror Queens, right, that won the game. But at the same time, we also have to consider that the game was actually stretched, even though Terror Queens was winning the game. So we have a clip with us. It was around 12 minutes for our game. We saw the potential of Gaming Gladiators actually stretching at the game. So 12 minutes again for them. Okay, it was during the Turtle Pit. We will show that to you later on. Okay, this is the clip. So this is 12 minutes. So let's start again and then make it slow. So again, this is the power spike for the side of Gaming Gladiators. Take note that during this moment, it was actually Lancelot clearing the minion wave. Again, that is an indication
guys,
that
aku
the
nak
players of
pergi
Gaming
ni,
Gladiators
guys,
already know that they have enough damage against Terror Queens. Then you have the Crimson Beacon for
Sekejap, boleh tak
Sayori.
guys aku nak tolong.
Okay,
Aku nak korang support dekat ni guys. Aku nak korang support. Madu ni. Sekejap guys Aku nak korang support ni kat Madu. Okay. La 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 la. Mana dia? Oh. Okay bos aku nak korang support ni guys. Aku nak korang support ni. Aku nak korang support Abinal guys. Ini Madu yang terbaik bos, Abinal Shop. Okay. Ini guys Ini guys aku nak korang pergi dekat sini guys sini support ni pembina kat dia ni guys. Ini for real guys Ini for real guys Support dia ni guys Ini siapa nak beli madu apa semua beli kat sini guys Madu yang terbaik guys Amina Shop. Mic tak dengar. Jangan dia mic tak dengar. Mic dia tak dengar bro. Assalamualaikum Jeb. Mic dia tak dengar bro. Ni Abinali. Abinali kita punya geng-geng kita yang mabar BBIP dengan kita bro. Tapi dia madu dia sedap lah madu dia terbaik bro.
Hello, test. Hello.
Okay, dengar.
Hello. Okay. Tak, habis bateri sudah.
Okay.
Kita
pergi dekat sini guys,
Sorry, sebab tadi saya guna terlalu lama yang mikrofon yang satu lagi tu saya guna terlalu lama. Jadi dia sudah habis bateri. Terima kasih yang kedua sebab masuk kita punya live. Tak apa. Insya-Allah terima kasih banyak. Terima kasih banyak.
Saya dah dapatkan madu dia bro.
Tadi
madu dia.
Live tak dapat nak join tadi live. Sebab kita pergi makan gulai kita pergi makan gulai kenduri
Hey Kat, thank you Kat.
Kuala Krai.
Terima kasih Kat for the hand heartnya Kat. Semoga banyak rezeki dunia akhirat Kat. Thank you Kat.
Too easy for jet.
Ni siapa nak beli madu ke beli kat sini guys. Pergi kat live dia.
Boleh join kita Mabar VVIP sama Too easy for jet.
Abinal duduk mana guys? Baik Abinal.
Jemput tengok dulu Ahmad Musa jemput tengok
ni guys, siapa kalau nak belikan madu, nak beli madu ni okey, ni mau masuk ni mau nak beli ni Abinal ni.
Jemput tengok kita punya beg kuning dulu. Dek B sekali lagi masuk, terima kasih.
Kan nak beli madu untuk mak ayah ke apa ke bro, boleh bro kat sini bro. Aku ni baca domain ni guys, babu betul lah.
Encik syukur
Yeah.
Nyam miau nyam jemput masuk kita punya live dulu. InsyaAllah walaupun petang ni kita punya viewer
Abinan.
kurang agak kurang petang ni, tapi tak apa sebab kita kena konsisten untuk buat live.
InsyaAllah semoga punya rezeki.
Kita kena konsisten untuk buat live insyaAllah. Okey. Malam ni saya tak pasti lagi saya akan live ataupun tak.
Kena rajin live.
Saya akan live ataupun tak ya.
Tak, aku nak share dompet ni bro. Apa betul lah restriction tu. Aduh, aku benci betul lagu.
Jadi saya perlukan rehat sebab saya pagi tadi daripada pukul 7 saya live sampai pukul 9. Okey, sampai 9 lebih daripada pukul 7 sampai 9 lebih saya live. Lepas tu pukul 4 tadi saya live.
Ini kau kena ni guys. Aku
belum
kejap, aku nak gerak ni.
End live lah.
Aku nak gerak ni guys.
Saya dah nak end live
Aku tak boleh live dekat ni tau. Aku nak kena gerak
End live.
Ni kau support ni. Kau beli ni madu dia ni.
Pukul 6 saya dah nak end live 10 minit lagi 10 minit lagi untuk buat pembelian harga tengah promosi sekarang. Crazy Friday.
Okey
Tommy, terima kasih datang
Ni kau support ni kau. Korang fikir live dia ni
untuk claim
Aku nak live kat YT, aku tak live kat sini. Aku malas sebab aku nak tengok game ni.
Atas sini kita punya kupon
Kenapa tak boleh live ada whitelist kan? Tak aku tak boleh ni. Aku dah kena share dompet ni paling teruk ni. Ikon aku.
Terima kasih banyak-banyak. Semoga korang semua dilimpahkan rezeki dan juga
amin.
Pergi
live bye.
Nikmat sihat itu adalah nikmat yang sukar dicari. Walaupun ada duit berjuta-juta, tapi kalau kita sakit, walaupun kita sakit seperti demam sekalipun kita tak boleh nak buat apa dah. Kita dah rasa macam hilang satu nikmat, betul tak? Jadi dengan kita amalkan
the comments and the posts being made.
Yes.
I love how our community is even more so just participating in the discussion of our women's scene in mlbb.
And we even have a dedicated social media for mlbb.
Komen guys, mari masuk guys.
So I really love the progress and even the progress of these teams. Very different from day number 1, and it goes to show that esports is really a home for any gender, but it's also a home for deadly drops.
All right, Game In versus Terror Queens, game number 2. The Uranus gets taken away. Baksha in response, of course. So now we are going to be going into a smaller pool of the top most contested picks. Many times throughout MWI, we've talked about Yi Sun-shin, but also many times he's just ignored in the draft.
Speaking of, but now it's
not this time around. I think he's banned.
Probably because for Terror Queens, there's a possibility for them to take that hero, and we have another trivia.
So, Savage Queens, 4 Terror Queens, in the span of 11 games, TQ has already scored 181 total kills, the highest amongst all teams. Onyx ranks second with 129. I mean, Terror Queens have also had their fair share of long series, long games. But you can see it from their gameplay, like, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, they can give up some moments just so that they can get kills and
Ni susah juga dah. Yang dia lawan ni pun kuat juga bro. Yang dia lawan ni sumpah serius dekat kau.
Right? When we saw Foot play, they were aggressive, they were able to get a lot of kills, but rarely do we see them be able to convert that on anything else on the map. So that was just, pure blood aggression. But what I love about TQ is that aggression is usually utilized for something else that they want on the map. And it's in true Burmese fashion, right? I think the male counterparts exemplify a similar kind of gameplay. So we are going to be looking yet again at another game full of aggression, I do believe, from TQ. With the Jushin now taken off the bat, I think it's also important to note that both of these teams have actually opted to swap sides. So it's actually TQ now on red side. With the Arlet last ban, this opens up a lot of heroes for GG.
Yeah, and if we go back to the first draft, I don't think that for both teams, they still prioritize Kimmy. But there's a high chance still for them, not unless... Oh, wow, not unless they get the...
Whoa,
We're not even starting game number 2, guys. I love it.
Oh my god, guys, look at her face.
Even the coaches are just smiling.
I have the exact same face as Coach Rexman right now. So, I know y'all can see me on screen, but okay, I like this very first pickup by Gaming Gladiators. I wanted them to have something like the CC. It was banned by them in the first phase, but now they rush pick it because I think up against a team like Terror Queens, you need someone that can dish out great crowd control, of course, with her curtain call, but good damage as well.
Dia tahu siapa? Tak tahu
Now
dia
that
tahu siapa,
they
bro.
got the CC, I think for Terra Queens, they have to be mindful of that gatot.
Yes.
Because that's their combo.
Asyik dia tengok orang
Go in with the AOG.
Yes.
Just to stop the other players. Not unless they want to take Hilda again. And why not take the Lancelot instead? So that there's the counter pick against GG, because Nicolette has been playing really well with that Lancelot. But it's going to be Joy still. They want a hero that could literally be just all over the place. Plus the Farsa, just to make sure that they have that burst
Gatot
against
dulu.
the gold laner or Panda.
Ambil Gatot dulu.
Early game.
Dia nanti dulu. Gatot dulu kena pick. Ambil Gatot dulu, ambil Lancelot. Gatot dulu. Gatot ataupun Mas Bengkau. Rasa Gatot Lancelot dulu. Gatot Lancelot dulu ataupun Gatot Hayabusa lagi pun cantik. Aku rasa Gatot Hayabusa lah dekat sini Gatot Hayabusa lah, aku rasa Gatot Hayabusa lah. Nampak tak? Kenapa tak guys? Gatot. Wow! Kau tengok Kau tengok bro. Nampak tak tekan aku bro? Gila tak? Dah boleh baca dah bro. Dah boleh baca. Real lah kan? Real tak real bro? Real ke tak real bro? Oh real, ini okey. Sebab apa aku cakap okey? Sebab apa aku cakap okey? Hayabusa antara yang sesuai. Boleh keluar masuk untuk siapa? Untuk Pasha, untuk dia punya jungler. So Gatot Kaca boleh initiate terus pergi ke Pasha guys Itu je cara dia bro. Okey, tak ada masalah. So dekat sini apa yang patut dia ban? Apa yang patut dia ban untuk pasukan orang ni guys
So for GG they have options like Moskov, even Bruno actually.
I think this is smart. I was thinking the one was still open, but the fact that they picked up the Iratel first means they're, giving up the question to GG.
Hida tak ada satu okey. Hida okey. Siapa jungler dia tak nak jumpa? Ni ingat tahu ada Pedrin tau. Jangan lepaskan Pedrin. Pedrin buat pula. Pedrin dah ada ni. Okey, sorry. Pedrin nak buat pula. Dah ada Joy. Okey. Siapa dia punya tanker dia yang betul-betul susah sekarang. Tanker sekarang tak ada masalah. Badang. Badang pun tak ada masalah bro. Aku rasa Obvious je. Obvious pun antara yang obvious lah guys Obvious. Aku rasa obvious lah.
Go for the Harith. Actually, it's nice against a Farsa. Although Harith against a Joy is not a good idea.
Aku rasa kalau tanker tak ada masalah. Tanker apa-apa dia boleh hadap yang ni. Tanker tak ada ban dah.
Since they have this tendency
Glue. Let's ball.
To go split push on both sides. So GG can also replicate on that strategy. But Xborg, has been banned. So probably GG wants another layer of a tanky post 5 in this game, not unless they want to go Kalea.
And maybe they want to make sure that the CC has a good lane in the EXP, right? We've seen this matchup, I think yesterday, and it looked like the CC was having a better time against the Xborg. The stacks from the Xborg,
the overheated state.
Yes, it's very difficult to utilize in that particular scenario.
Badang sebenarnya kacau juga Badang. Bagi aku Badang kacau juga Badang. Bagi aku ban Badang lah Badang.
Will give that too. They don't need a lot of damage coming out of the EXP lane. For Gaiman, if they ban out the Xborg, are they going to go for something static? You can't. There's a Joy and a Badang on that side. Are they just going to end up with like a Valentina yet again for Sayori? Or the Juicin? Oh no, they banned it out themselves, yeah.
Even Zedion's not available. So yeah, I think they're forcing her again to use the Valentina.
Kimmy, whoosh.
Oh, wait, right. Kimmy, of course, still up and available for them.
Kimmy carry.
Whoa. They go for double marksman. They put the Kimmy in the lane. They go for carry. Considering that they are thinking that it's going to be another really tanky presence for Terra Queens up front, but
Killer.
Nice.
Nice.
That is a lot of targets, and it's going to be easy to get to those targets for the jungler of Terra Queens.
Considering that there is no hero actually that would do the jungle pathing also against the Joy. So it depends on how the Kimi will actually rotate for GG, but you have the Khalid. Wow. So here's the strategy of Terra Queens. They're just have this hero that will find the jungler.
Okey lah, pengailan Khalid pun cantik juga untuk siapa ni, untuk CC. Okay, nice. Pandai guys, dua-dua pandai draft. Tim GG pun pandai, tim ni pun pandai. Ya, balance sangat. Allahu Akbar.
To Mirko and Athena to call game number 2 in this semi-finals match.
Thank you so much, Panda, for that very insightful look onto the draft. It's going to be the game 2 for our semifinals. Yet again, it's me, Athena, and together with me is Mirko. Talking about a change of scenery and a change of hero here for Panda, Mirko. There is a sudden question mark because whenever she's not using the Granger, those games that they played all throughout the group stage and the knockout just wasn't giving. And actually, guys, you could share your experience with us with the Esports World Cup by filling out the survey, and we really do value your feedback. Just scan the QR code under the lower left. But moving forward, Mirko, thoughts on to this carry for Panda?
Honestly, not too big of a fan of the carry pick here. You're right, you know, it's different. Whenever Panda is not on the Granger, she's just not as active around the map. She's not as comfortable for sure. So kind of leaves her to be weak side, I believe. Like whenever we don't see her on Granger, I think Gaimin are going to be playing much more for XP for Aria, and that's why they've set up for a winning lane this time around. And it's interesting to see that Terra Queens have actually picked up the Khalid against the CC. This is, I think, a matchup we saw yesterday too for GG up against Navi Malaysia.
Exactly.
And yeah, CC definitely gets the better of the Khalid. So actually suits to Gaming Gladiator's strengths here, at least if they do want to play to the XP.
They want to somehow negate their weakness onto game number 1. I believe it was Eterna that mentioned that their side lanes just wasn't strong enough, right? Aria was really struggling with the Esme. So for Gaming Gladiators, the plan here is to somehow
Let's sikit je, aku dah ngantuk ni bros.
for Aria
Kemudian TikTok aku tak ada.
and trust the process here with Panda's carry.
Sekarang ni kita tengah menonton je guys. Dua-dua draft okey je. GG okey, Terra Queen okey guys.
And then most of the time just Ranger. But let's see, for Terra Queen, I like the fact that we kind of just went ahead, getting on to the next here for Gaming Gladiators draft. And so far, I'm liking that they also have the Farsa finally here for the instant burst and the jump. And if ever you want the crowd control, you also have Cool for that setup play. Now first turtle is up for grabs. Aria just hiding out on the bush. Very nice hit here onto Lagrina. Ulti already exhausted there.
Ooh, big ult's already wasted there. Shadow kill over to the turtle. Interesting choice. Aria pops into Vengeance, now pinned down as well. Traction Pulse gets her out.
Boom.
Vengeance there. Ashley with the AoE
Nice,
shield
Ashley.
on, able to find it, and Nicolette getting
Sikit
the
boom.
damage, but not enough to get Lang down.
This is,
Flicker out.
this is what we're talking about, right? If you want the dive, you have Lagrina. If you want the crowd control, you have Ku. And most of the time, though, even though it's questionable, still, they're doing it right. Gaming Gladiators getting the first blood at the first turtle on an unorthodox way, but still, they managed to get the job done.
Yeah, strong side XP. It works for neutral objectives especially, and we can see it. Terra Queens, though, they gotta be much more clinical, much more patient with a lot of their resources, because the fact that they burned Farsa and Khalid all early to get a catch on Sayori, who's again on a Kimmy, very, very mobile, led to Gaming Gladiators getting a free turtle.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was thinking. Like, that is too early. Like, you would want to somehow just a little bit more, be more patient, and for Gaming Gladiators, that is just what they want. Like, Terra Queens being impatient, and them just going for the counter attack, counter engage. Cool being cornered out.
Great pick now with the quad shadow backwards. Lang able to get ready stance on the panel, but just quickly out. Rui goes for the next spine beats, finds a kill back on Nicolette. 2 for 1 in favor of GG as Lunolin gets caught by the immobilization. No capitalization just yet here. The turret shields. She's punching on it.
Okay, for Terra Queens, even if
Ngantuk guys.
kind of patient, but Sekoshi
Ngantuk guys.
getting most of her nourishment here onto the top lane, being left alone. Hefty gold plating shield got there for Sekoshi's Irrital, but looking forward here for Gaming Gladiators, that was a huge risk, even though Rui was able to somehow target, negate Nicolette there. But still, we cannot deny that with this Kimmy mid lane, there's so much more that Sayori can provide, right? With the continuous damage, and even the crowd control with the traction pulse. But now, almost on to the 10-second mark, and Aria, even before the turtle has spawned, has already been slain down by Terraform.
Yeah, she's got to be way more careful here on the CC pick. Again, CC, main counter to CC is actually CC2, just a different kind, crowd control. You get locked down, even with the vengeance, you won't be able to survive.
Hey, thank you Abdullah. Assalamualaikum, waalaikumsalam. Abdullah, terima kasih Abdullah. Kejut aku Abdullah. Terima kasih Abdullah for the game-nya. Semoga diperbanyakkan rezeki dunia akhirat. Abdullah. Macam tak ada siapa boleh kacau Parasha ni. Boleh. Harapkan tu je. Ada ni lah. Still ada siapa ni? Still ada ni lah guys Dia still ada ni bro. Still ada siapa namanya tu? Si siapa? Gatot ada. Ada Hayabusa ada. Boleh.
When and where she could go for the vengeance.
Terima kasih sobat tau. Sobat.
Looking at the goal difference, not much of a difference. So, like literally, Turquoise just balance it out the map. There are around hundreds here in favor of them, but still we cannot say that that is already a huge advantage. But 3 members here rotating onto the top lane. Nicolette could just easily go out of there with a quad shadow. But still, right now, the map is being too quiet. Still waiting for someone to dive in. Speaking of which, there you go. Flicker out for Langrina.
Pada terima kasih tak pandai tau. Macam tak ada siapa boleh kacau. Ada.
Gold crab up down below.
Emo lah guys. Bagi mata penjamak lah sama senang guys. Mata penjamak ni. Apa? Kalau boleh lah.
Aria with a vengeance. That's with the raging sandstorm locking her down, and the feathered airstrike, last shot of it, finds its mark.
And that is something that Turquoise just wants to punish. Because whenever you see Aria just go
dia kena combo dengan Kari lagi ni. Kari sakit.
And it's working, right? Turquoise still hasn't.
Nenek aku kata ubat ngantuk cuma tidur je. Ubat ngantuk tidur ke?
Go onto the front, let Panda do her job, but instead Panda will not be able to somehow spread out here onto the map. Just constantly being hunted down by Ruby, and might be on the bottom side. Still waiting here for a big control, big setup clash. Is this it?
Pinned down onto Aria again, taken down with a heavy crossbow. Sakoshi doing a bit too much damage for even Aria to handle. TQ. This will be another free
bongo ada kena.
And similarly to the second turtle, it's off of a pickoff on Aria.
That's going to be
Allah Akbar.
Onto the map, and even if nothing is not happening yet in terms of overextended team fights, still favoring onto their side, right? No one is stopping Rui, no one is stopping Sakoshi, and even Loon Lane.
Let's go. Kasih paham bro.
If you're gaming gladiators and looking at the items, it's just continually growing, right? You have to find an answer as soon as possible if you're gaming gladiators, and even if you're not being taken down continuously if you're Nicolette, but you have to have those numbers, right? You have to get those kills, and is this the kill that she needs? Luna Lane
gets a shuriken down with the quad shadow now, and backs away into the quad shadow. Koos right there, Sakoshi walks up, AOG, great peel, but he's still gonna be the
mantap, class bro, class, class.
But it's a Panda response to get a kill.
Ada tak hidup ni? Ada tak hidup sebab ni siapa ni? Si siapa ni? Si Khalid tu counter dia. Tapi boleh ni masih okey lagi. Let's go Aria.
Pave way for Panda to just like go for the speedy light wheels and basic attacks. And definitely for Turquoise, just need to somehow rethink of their strategies on when and where Lunalin should pop those feathered airstrike. We get the idea constantly harass Aria, but look at the live cam view.
Ada orang nak Pasha
to be an almost off-cam kill here on the Sakoshi.
Yeah, Ashley picks up the kill, so not the best of targets to give kills to. Panda's just gonna go on to continue the chase. Lang using a Raging Sandstorm defensively again, and GG, they're slowly but surely coming back in this game.
Okay. The double marksman setup is crazy right now. They're dishing out much needed damage even onto the early phasing of the game. Panda will still be able to get out. Circle of Feather Airstrike for Lunalin. But for Turquoise right now, I feel like they're just crumbling around. not really much of a blueprint to follow. They're just launching around, finding the right target, but
Mengantuk sih aku.
they're
Lah
waiting for
otak dia
the
guys.
eye. They're just waiting and praying.
Enggak tak boleh lah guys.
Waiting for someone
Antok.
to overplay their stay or a rotation here. Luna Lin with the wings by wings. She doesn't have any flicker, no way out there.
Quick assassination, Raging Sandstorm, Panda flickers out of it. And they burst down the front.
Kami sebagai staff Epic Clothing tak pernah datang ke kedai kami.
Frontliner 2. No Luna Lin, no Hlang. Terra Queens have been dominating the turtle game, but it's GG who will claim the first lord of the game. Nicolette retreats in as Rui is stuck in her own jungle, zoned away by Ashley.
That's the strength for GG. They know when to wait. Like, never force out the play here for Aria. Just wait for Luna Lin or even Langrina to show onto the map, and that's it, right? A very perfect target here for Gaming Gladiators. And now there's a bit of a struggle right now for Terra Queens to somehow lock in on Nicolette and even Panda, still untouchable by the way. With the
Ada tak hidup ni? Tak hidup. Gak mana gak? Kau komen agak bagi aku tak ngantuk guys. Gak bagi semangat sikit lah guys. Ya Allah. Hai. Aku sebenarnya nak like kat TT. Aku nak like kat TikTok. Tapi TikTok aku tak nak. Aku tak boleh. TikTok aku sayang TikTok aku. Aku tak boleh TikTok aku.
Doing a great job at those adjustment here for game number 2.
Good defense from Terra Queens. They've been able to... Oh, Sayori gets caught under the turret too. The Raging Sandstorm forced to flicker out.
No!
Lang gets away, but that's enough of a distraction by Terra Queens. Nicolette used a Shadow Kill early too. Maybe a turret in the mid lane, but that's about it. No holy defense blocked with the First Lord.
One of the unsung here for me is Ashley, right? She has 100% KP as of now. And this is just one of those heroes that even if it goes out of meta, but if it's Ashley using it, it's just a very great performance with this. And she's definitely...
Si predict team AWC ML dah host. Ni lah, GG lah.
Comes to try close here for Nicolette and even Panda. Looking at the items, but...
Predict team AWC. Maksudnya perempuan ke lelaki? Perempuan ke lelaki bro?
For Nicolette, Freddy has to end this battle. And that's why she really is giving that much needed damage for GG.
Pulse over the bush, opening things up.
Ya lelaki Dark Horse Dark Horse aku rasa ni lah Beatles Pro.
It's a good position to be in right now for Gaming Gladiators. I think they've already weathered this early game storm that we expected from Terra Queens. Now you just got to be careful of the 3 damage dealers, and mainly I think the Joy, who can really wreak havoc in the back line.
She can, and actually she was doing a great job onto the early phases of the game. And for Gaming Gladiators, I feel the adjustment. Like, we don't have to constantly be on a team fight. We could just wait them out, like fire them out, smoke them out rather here for Terra Queens. And you mentioned the aggressiveness for Terra Queens has funneled down, right? It's not that high compared to game number 1, wherein there were multiple clashes in a row, multiple picks up here. And with the lead here going onto the hands of Gaming Gladiators, somehow I like the way that
Team PH perempuan ada lagi ke?
balancing out the sides, which
Team
is
PH
what was
perempuan dah
missing
tak
for game number 1. So there were kind of
Ada
struggle
Team Liquid
when
Team
it
Liquid.
comes to them chasing out Terra Queens, and then they have to go back and defend. Now second Lord has respawned here for game number 2. Still a waiting game, very patient. Ashley and Aria here, even Ku and Langrina.
Iklan pisang duk. Hai, sabarlah iklan tu. Bagilah mana-mana dekat saya iklan tu bro.
Just following suit. They need to somehow slow push their minion wave also onto the top lane. So Yuri might be baiting out this Lord, or they might continue because the Joy is still too far away.
See the strength to carry. If you have a slow push up top and you bait out a lot of members over, you can blitz the Lord with the carry. Cool. Walking up, Nicholas right there. She's been pin down over the Panda. Now with the air strike as well, but she's able to flicker out of safety. As a Raging Sandstorm flicker combo, Sakoshi with the damage, and will be able to find it in the back.
Gila, sop. Nice, ni baik dah. Selera go. Nice bro, gila. Jangan balik kau.
Sakoshi left up against 4 of GG's members. Ashley, sponsor in the bush. It stops her from recalling
Oh my
the GG.
gosh, in an
Are just gonna split
instant.
the map.
Okay, that's 4 members down. They were too tunneled onto trying to take down Panda that forgot. They're still in Nicolette, they're still in Aria. And with that, for its Gaming Gladiators, they use it to their advantage. That Panda, they're constantly eyeing you out, and they didn't even notice Nicolette just going.
Nabi memang Nabi Indo. Bos Nabi pening ketiga Nabi. Barai bro. Suruh bayar aku nanti Nabi. Suruh bayar aku biar aku jaga tim momen, biar aku jaga tim dia.
Looking at the items, yeah, you already have the lock item build here for Sikoshi. But most of the time, though, there's a bit of a question here whether Lunalin still has to somehow follow through with the Feathered Airstrike or just be the starter, right? Is it the counter engage or just go with the flow and be the one who starts the round?
Let's see how they manage these waves. That capitalization off of the team fight was phenomenal, by the way. They instantly split up, got tier 2 in the mid lane, got the turret super low, one charge and it's down. Baser down up top, Feather Airstrike used defensively over to Nicolette there to zone him away. Nicolette watch out on the shadow kill. She isolates herself and has to use the within nature to escape as Aria stands her ground up top. It's the curtain call down onto Ku. AOG won't land. Attraction pulse will though, and that's been the taunt now, forced him in the crown over from Rui. Gunned down by Sayori, slowly but surely as Nicolette finds the rose gold meteor. Sikoshi doing a good job at peeling away. Halang goes in Raging Sandstorm. Rui melted down, forcing to flick around. From Ku. Rui gets the kill from Sikoshi. Laser down by Panda and Sayori. 3 base turrets down. GG are looking for the end. Cannon in the mid lane already. Nicolette jumps into the quad channel. Now he's going to Rui in the back of Sayori's able to flicker on the shadow kill. Deals enough damage. Lunalin very low. Forced back onto the fountain. Rui dashing forward. Panda goes in. Targets the base. And we've got an equalizer in a best of 5. 1-1.
We could just see them somewhat
taunting
celebrating. Ashley there with the taunts as well. All won the first semi-finals of the day.
Apa ni, Aria tak mati banyak tapi dia bagi space. Dia banyak bagi space. Aria banyak tak lah dia punya space. Dia ke hati betul lah tu sebab betul lah apa dia cakap tu. Taunting je.
I asked for taunts after every game. We got
Beri
it.
asal lah. Bomba bro.
Damn good mlbb. Gaming Gladiators clapping back, tying up the series. And I feel like
Asli single tak alah bulu kening dia. Kau minat dia pasal bulu kening je bro. Cuba dia cabut bulu kening dia tu. Betul tak guys? Cuba dia cabut bulu kening dia tu bro. Ya bro. Dia sebab bulu kening dia je bro. Bulu kening je bro. Betul tak? Cuba dia cabut bulu kening dia tu bro. Ya. Kau bayangkan bro, itu je aku nak cakap engkau. Aku tak cakap banyak, itu je bro. Bulu kuning belum mata. Ya, belum mata dia bro. Bulu kening pula.
There was a gap actually in terms of the levels. I think
dia cakap memang baru tahu. Ya, ini nampak dia taunting awal sangat bro. Aku rasa aku nak makan kejap lah guys. Sekejap aku ambil makanan sekejap guys. Sekejap.
The resources available, it was just a GG having control in the jungle.
And I think that comes full circle to the point that Renmar was also making earlier on, right? The fact that there was the Gatot for Ashley. You would expect a little bit more space for the Joy because of the Farsa in the mid lane. But it's not as simple for Lunalin because she knows she needs to be very careful when she utilizes her resources in case it does get cancelled or the taunt does come through from Ashley. So that's why we saw the lead coming in from Nicolette, and then that change in tempo towards that mid game, considering that Nicolette was able to get to the power spike and the damage started to really pierce through TQ, and they couldn't play too aggressive either. So it was very a catch-22 situation for the Burmese queens here.
Yeah, 100%. However, there's also going to be a moment where if you're Terror Queens, it seems like at one point they already just accepted, all right, we're going to be waiting for the mid to the late game. One of the reasons why heading into this game, I was thinking that maybe it could be a repeat of game number 1 is that's your window with this kind of lineup up against the lineup of Gaming Gladiators brought to the table, wherein you're going to have to be you have to set your foot down and say, this might be risky, but we have to take the risk. Because if they take that risk of being a little bit more aggressive in the early game, that means you get the farm of the Joy faster, that means you get the farm of the Iruthel faster. But they didn't take that risk.
I agree, because as soon as we get into the late game, considering GG brought in the carry plus the Kimmy,
Yes.
it's not as simple nor straightforward, because I think this was a really good touch, right? We saw the carry being picked up in the later stages of the drafts, and I was thinking to myself, we've never seen Panda on this carry. I'm a little worried about it, right? She's always the strong side gold laner, but then it turns out it was balanced out by having the Kimmy for Sayori in the mid lane to make sure that they can still catch up to the mid game.
Yeah, this goal difference actually tells a lot about what you've said. Imagine it was actually GG winning the game, but you have higher gold to her counterpart, Sikoshi. So it just means that for GG here, they just pushed on other lanes and focused on not having that pressure on Panda, and Nicolette stepped up in the moments of the game we're in. They're just diving in the middle, forcing the mid lane to somehow deteriorate.
Yeah, and I think we've seen this a lot in our respective national leagues, wherein one of the best things that Gacha brings to the table as a roamer, besides his ability kit, is the fact that you can give him the Revitalize, which does put a lot of hesitation for opposing teams to actually consider early game trades, because they're thinking, but they have a Revitalize, is it really going to be worth it? And I feel like what we saw in that game was that line.
Dari Jepang bro. Jom saya jemput makanan guys. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim guys.
So let's look at our head-to-head, wherein in game number 1, it took a little bit of time for Nicolette to really get the ball rolling, but this time around on the Hayabusa, considering it counters or answers the first Terra Queens right away, yeah, she was significantly more free to do Nicolette things.
Yeah, and if we look at the other objective for Turtle and Lord, it was actually Nicoletta that is higher as compared to the Terror Queens. So I kind of feel like for Nicolette here, she just knew when and where to engage. So let's say, for example, this Turtle objective, she knows that, okay, I don't have to be a part of the next series of events. I'll just proceed on the other layers, and then if there is a potential kill for the team, then I go in. More so for Rui, she always makes time to find Nicolette in the middle of the team fight, but it's all about the burst and the idea of having a Hayabusa at the back. Hence, Lunalyn didn't really had a good time for that game number 2.
It really does reflect her mastery over these assassins, and it also reflects her experience, I think, because the moment that we saw that big turnaround was, I think, at 9 minutes, I believe, and then she started to really proc that damage in. One of the main factors was because of Nicolette in this game. So coming into game number 3, I'm wondering whether or not they would consider denying the assassins away. I know that there are a lot of assassins that are suitable at this moment, but at this point in time, I think she deserves some respect.
Yeah. You know what? We rarely see that a lot in this level of tournament.
Bagi aku doang ni power tu.
The latter portions of it, wherein it's like a full committal ban that is surprising. Like, I think one of the scenarios that you might be considering is, what if Terror Queens instantly bans out Nicolette's favorites? Fredrin, Lancelot, Hayabusa, all gone. What then happens
Untuk
next
GG ni power
for Gaming Gladiators, right? So, you know what? I'm gonna ride on that idea with you. Hopefully, we get to see something along those lines. But now, as we head into game number 3, we've had 2 games now where the first pick is so unexpected.
Suka asli
in game number 1, CC in game number 2. If I feel like we fall back to the idea of, you gotta have that one hero that does so well with an easy crowd control that can contribute with easy damage.
And whenever they pick that unorthodox hero, that's the story of the whole game. When it was Hilda the other game, it was just literally zoning out or finding the jungle of the other team, potentially killing some of the players that has low HP. Same goes with the CZ. Now, if that's the case, then for the rest of the heroes, it is advisable that they could get some more on
Asli,
the
asli.
flex side, because so far they're really honest in terms of their draft. So there's not really much of the X factor, I think, for both. But all the drafts are good.
Kenapa?
It just so happened
Nasi
that
goreng.
they counter each other out so much that sometimes in terms of execution, they kind of deteriorate mid to late game.
Makes sense. The CC first pick for me personally was one of the main reasons that GG was able to come back. Because if they didn't have that CC strong lane against the Khalid, I think it would be a very different game from the early game. I think Mirko touched on it as well when he was doing his cast, considering that the carry was already a losing lane. They needed a lane to work with, and that's how GG was able to gain control over the neutral objectives in the early stages. So I agree with your notion that we are going to be seeing, I think, more peculiar picks in the first phase. And it all boils down to counterplay, right? Hilda was a counter. CC was also the stone that they needed to utilize to set things up.
GG.
I feel like with everything that we've seen so far in this series, there's going to be 3 key positions that we have to look at in terms of the drafting, their priorities, and what heroes they end up with: roam, mid, and EXP. Because it seems like a lot of our major discussions revolve around the heroes in those spots.
Yeah, that's true. And
Nicolette power,
I
don't Nicolette.
really like, by the way, the Kimi against Farsa. So I think if the other team is to get the Farsa, it's not advisable for them if they open up the Kimi, because if I remember it correctly, it was the Setyan that they banned. So when drafting, it is really nice for them to consider who is better in the mid lane, better in the EXP lane, just like what Renmar said. But at the same time, if they are to get the hero that is expected to win, then they have to make sure that all factors are going to be covered, including range, including the longevity in terms of team fight, in terms of the skills that they can use every second of every skirmish.
I agree. I think mid prio is going to be very important. I think they might have overlooked the Kimi. So to shift things a little bit, I think in game number 2, TQ heavily focused on denying his heroes. Right? The Irithel pickup, the Granger ban, forcing the carry, and it turns out it didn't work.
Can't focus on one thing too much, because at the same time you're going to be giving up something as well. So that that might be one of the reasons why Terra Queens by the end of that draft actually just ended up with a lineup that they're very uncomfortable to deal with. I'm going to toss up a hot pick question for both of you. There's one pick in MWI that has so far been successful for some teams and have shown to provide surprise, considering that a lot of teams in MWI rely on slow front-to-back team fights. Which one of these 2 teams is gonna bring out my panda? Where's the Kai?
I think it's gonna be GG. I think GG, because they have a strong frontliner most of the time, but at the same time, they always add another layer of crowd control.
I agree.
They
And
also use Arlott.
Yeah, the reason behind this is because usually when we see the Akai, it's usually paired in with the triple marksman strategy. Double marksman strategy with the Kimi, and so far we haven't seen Lunalin pick up the Kimi, but GG has, so we might be seeing that potential.
And it isn't just me just being an absolute Akai stan. Really, the teams that have picked up Akai in MWI have ended up with a pick that is so surprising that it ruined the team fighting abilities of the opposing team. Again, because of what Heavy Spin brings to the table, with so many displacements that you have to deal with, and so many blocks and dashes that it stops.
But are we talking about Akai jungle? Because I think that would be a waste for
Ada ni banyak open map kan? Untuk dorang. Kalau kebasaran ada banyak open map. So Asli ni cuma jaga crowd control dia. Asli. Dia jaga team fight.
Not unless they have another.
Selalu yang bait Aria yang bait.
Right? So we see Uranus and even YSS.
Betul lah tu.
GG the usual. I think they are to open the back shot. I think they're willing to give up the back shot because they changed the sequence.
Yes. But also TQ are shutting down Ashley.
Yep.
Right? Arlet ban, Kalea ban, Gatok ban, forcing her on either the Minotaur or maybe the Hylos, who we have seen work, but it's not as easy to execute.
Yeah. We might end up in a scenario here where Terror Queens, if they don't end up with a traditional gold lane marksman now, they might end up with a Harith. We're going to see the Harith Minotaur relationship again, something that Gaming Gladiators were able to excel with. But knowing Terror Queens, they might not go for that.
I'm not sure if GG now will prioritize Kimi and Baksha.
Hello ada juga Hello ni. Bagus juga kalau Hello ni. Zitin kenapa ya Zitin? Zitin Hello tu. Tapi tengok Zitin awak sangat.
Terror Queen side. So I think it's gonna be Badang and Hayabusa still prioritizing that hero for Nicolette, sticking on the assassin. Now for Terror Queens, they can now get the Granger just for the sake of counter pick and somehow limit a hero pool for Panda.
So dangerous though. I mean, yeah, it's a good setup for, you know, the gold lane, but against the Hayabusa and the Badang, it might be a little risky. Maybe they go for something a little bit safer.
Yep. I wonder what that pick might just be.
Saya kira pun okay good game ni guys.
They do have the Badang.
Tapi Cici menang besar lah guys.
They want to go for either the Irithel.
Badang kena Roma lah guys.
Granger for the marksman.
Badang kena Roma.
Gold lane of Gaming Gladiators. Considering that Badang in itself is already enough of a stopper against the Joy. Ideally, you'd have to have one more. Whether through the mid or whether through the EXP pick. I'm still thinking this Badang is most likely going roam.
So they still have other options. So I think, by the way, for Terror Queens, this is a nice pick. Both Joy and CC, since Forza is still open, it literally shouts no Forza for you. It's a good idea for you to pick. That's why they will prioritize on Zetian.
Yeah.
So for GG, they can still pull off that Zetian very hard tank, or probably sustain that has crowd control on the side lane if ever they go for Badang as their Roma in this hero composition.
Because we're looking at two heroes coming in from TQ that are so weak to CC, right? That's why we see the Zetian and the Badang come through. It should be okay. One of the crazy things that I was thinking in my head for TQ is Chikoshi comfortable on a Ruby in the gold lane?
Ooh.
I mean, with the CC pickup, the Joy pickup, that's already some damage. I think coming into the second phase, we would expect TQ to look for yet another winning lane for the CC. But the Hylos gets eliminated here.
If they go Ruby gold lane, that means Terror Queens will have to play Kimi in the mid lane. Because they're still going to need sources of basic attack damage, and that's sort of going to be like your actual carry in the game. You have two main carries, but both of them are going to be dealing magic. I will keep that possibility up in the air. That might be something that we'll see, considering that they have strong sources of physical through the Hilda Ruby CC that way. Great crowd control. Might just be crazy enough to work, and that's an option for Terror Queen. So they even shut down that possibility. They ban out the Kimi instead.
Yeah, a very nice ban for GG because you've already discussed that possibility. So I think because of that, for Terror Queens, they will just shift again into those usual burst damages. I won't be surprised if we might see a Farsa Faramis for this match. Just for them to just dive in against the GG and somehow negate that shadow.
Salam aja, salam.
But for another ban,
Dito ako na ban.
I'm surprised if they get or they ban out another Ashley hero because they're literally focusing on that.
Could be Minotaur.
Yeah.
But they're heavily considering this because remember the gold lane is wide open. There you go. So they go for the Granger ban. Instead, the Zask ban is intelligent by GG because they know that TQ has utilized it as a counter towards an assassin in the jungle in the game that they played against Onyx. So now GG have the pick of the cherry. With Granger taken out,
looks like we're trapped with either Irithel, Harith, Moskov, yes.
Pria boleh masuk dalam meta ke?
Yeah, I think the number
Pria,
is decreased starting at day 2.
Aku rasa kalau kau yakin kalau kau ada plan boleh kot. Atau pakai tu kalau ada plan boleh je kalau kau ada game plan.
Oh, how come?
because there's still an option to pick up the Irita on the other side.
Lalu diorang ni akan
Because then they'll lose two
ikut
winning.
Oh,
They'll
right,
lose
right,
two side lanes.
diorang akan parity hero-hero yang kena dengan play sekarang lah.
Cherry Queens.
Oh, okay.
One more than Carmilla, just because they're really more on the dive. I think
Alright.
possible for them.
Sedap ni.
But Kari is a nice
Boleh Jimmy draw.
pick here for Gaming Gladiators. Okay.
Now
Yeah,
there's
1-1.
possible for 1-1. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Since they...
Oh, that's good. If they go 1-1 Camilla, then it solves their quite spread out damage distribution. It empowers Joy. Whoa, they go Selena.
And
Mid
Iritha.
lane and the Iritha.
A lot
But
of
it's okay.
vision actually. And map control early game for Terror Queens. Might be a little hard for the Setyan to actually control the mid. For Gaming Gladiators,
See, I think the
Khalid?
Padang's going roam already.
I'm not sure if they want to go Khalid on this game. Minotaur,
They need a winning lane.
but it's hard to have Minotaur.
Habis satu sisi je bagi Minotaur je ni. Tapi tu lah, Cici menang lah guys.
Talking about it right now.
Oh, tak boleh,
They
Cici
need
sakit.
an EXP laner with a little bit
Kalau
more
dia nak
damage.
boleh main tapi main late game lah. Cici.
They don't need a lot of the crowd control. Oh my goodness, no way.
Akai eh.
There it is.
We answered GG earlier, also for who has the potential to use the Akai.
I told y'all, the Panda, just put him anywhere. There's a lot of dashes. They want to go close range. The Akai would be good. Oh wait, I forgot. I have to do my job
Yes,
here. All
yes,
right,
yes.
so game number 3 now. Terror Queens between Game and Gladiators. Winner of this game will be at match point. Mirko, Athena. Do you guys like the Akai? I love it.
Aria eh.
Now, we do like the Akai being picked off here, but we do value your feedback, guys, who's watching right now. You can just scan the QR code, show us your feedback onto the survey. But heading over as a lot of donuts, as both teams are locked up at the 1-1. Some adjustments on
1-1 ada je. Tapi jarang lah orang untuk perempuan wanita punya 1-1 dia macam kurang. Dia tak macam lelaki punya 1-1 ni untuk.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. A battle for match point. It's 1-1 right now in a best of 5. And yeah, you gotta answer Renmar's question. Akai pick. Do I like it? I mean, I like it because they needed Peel. They needed another beefy boy up front to tank up the damage. Because Terror Queen, their composition is full on chaos.
They
dude.
do,
It fits their
right?
name, Terror Queens. They're striking terror to the hearts of gaming gladiators right now. Because the
Untuk
points of
laning,
baggage
yeah.
you would want with
Kalik.
Carry and a Zetian is completely ruined by
Kalik,
what Terror
okay.
Queens have drafted. They needed this Akai.
You just need to throw Panda here. And for Gaming Gladiators also, as Eterna mentioned, you just need to have a winning lane
Jaga
also.
saya ambil
And
anak
the
pula.
way to win a lane is also disrupt what Terrapins have forced upon onto the draft. Looking forward here onto the matchup later on. Looking at the emblem bids as well here for both our gold laners, more on the quantum charge here. And aside from that, the Selena being picked up here for Luna Lee. Right? Right? They want to go for the early. They want to go for the snowball. The Gaming Gladiators, let's see if they would let Terrapins tear the hell out of them.
A lot of bargain hunters here for the carry for Sayori as well. So they're looking to go for also snowballing. I mean, if they are able to contest neutral objective 1 with Akai level 4, should be good for them. Again, remember, even though the Akai is not jungle, this should still play out the same way. Akai should still be able to zone Joy away from the neutral objective to give Nicolette a free entry point to just go for the retry, actually.
Yeah. For game 1, actually, Terrapins have shown such ruthless aggression. Looking forward on how will they maintain their ice-cold composure under pressure, knowing that they could have won game number 2, but that isn't just the scenario here. Baku being attacked here by Zori and Aria. Very nice attack onto what Terrapins is trying to do. First turtle upper grabs here. You have the vision, you have the snows here for Game Gladiators, and Nicolette could just focus on the trying to burst down the turtle as fast as possible.
So far, so good. Ashley level 4 as well, so big advantage.
Yeah.
Rui in the bush now. That's going to be the global ult coming down as well. Nicolette on the retry will be able to win it as the fist crack lands to CC Rui. Heavy spin, locking her down. Pamna with a solo kill up top. Nicolette falling, but so does Rui. As now Ashley tries to go for the pin, gets it, but Ku Q is just too fast. Aria shredded down, flickers back to safety, and gets away as Ashley gets a punch knockout, getting the knockout on Q.
The Panda gets away here. Gaming Gladiators, a very good start here. And Lunalim with a dash. Just transforming, just try and get away. Panda on the other hand, that is somewhat of a huge space. An advantage of Gaming Gladiators plus a very good fast-paced rotation if they want to try and take away the early game from Terror Queens.
Would love to see what happened up top, Athena. That solo kill came out of nowhere. We were tunnel vision on the turtle, and then all of a sudden, Panda, not Akai, the goal lane Panda, Ashley with the fist track and a pin down. Now Panda straight up walking and melting Rui's HP bar. That truly was a magic trick as Panda continues to push on top.
You're right about that. We were too
Allahu
focused,
Akbar.
and that's why Renmer mentioned if you're too tunnel vision here,
Kalau dia main
you
tu tank.
miss some of the
Semi,
action,
semi.
right? You have to think of the bigger picture. And the bigger picture here right now for Gaming Gladiators is to
Dia sebenarnya ada
try and
juga
win the
macam-macam.
side
Sisi
lane.
pun boleh ikut
Cornered
sisi.
out. Aria shown.
Wow, it's a gaming.
Missile arrow landing.
Oh.
Gives Panda now, or gives Sakoshi now some more room. Great peel from Ashley again.
Oh, pero Lang Rina on the other hand.
Dia hero apa-apa boleh je. Yang penting kau kena rajin game tempat Cici je, guys.
But I would like to highlight
Cici memang kuat lah dekat laning.
fast action here for Terror Queens and a very nice
Tapi dia kalau kena gank dia pun ada pisang
down
juga, guys.
And as you mentioned earlier, you just need to somewhat maintain your composure. Just try and go for a shakable combination. Kill onto Ashley. Arrow will miss out. But still for Terror Queens, they have this huge advantage of just trying to go out of nowhere with the arrows and just try and capitalize on what they can do to stop Aria and even Nicolette to try and contest this turtle.
So arrow gets thrown out, Sayori getting space back as Rui's right there. Nicolette able to get the quad shadow in, but Lunalin expects it with an instant flicker out. Now it's a battle again for the neutral objective, but Nicolette is not concerned. Stays in the mid lane, Rui gets it for free. Curtain call comes down for Hlang. And Nicolette tries to go for a trade up top. Sakoshi with a heavy crossbow. Back again, Nicolette taking a bunch of damage from Ku.
This is much more proactive round for our leads.
macam dua ke orang.
For the game number 2, right? We're seeing some more of the attempt here to go for the ganks, to try and somehow get a pick off. Maybe it's also because of the Selena, which is kind of what you want, and the Hayabusa onto the early phase of the game. Get those numbers in. Who won't be a number on the kills here for Nicolette, while Koshi will be able to go for a solo turret takedown onto the top lane. Terror Queens is just dividing, conquering what they can, managing their time as well.
Yeah, I don't know why GG didn't go for the turtle, knowing they have an Akai. I thought they would want to contest neutral objectives and maybe just sacrifice the Akai. It's definitely a safer approach, but at this point, they sent Panda down below, but the other Panda, Akai, hasn't been sent up top.
Yeah.
Acting as a second roamer, and that has given so much more space for Sakoshi to capitalize. A missile arrow landing. Don't purify. Panda able to flicker out, but the curtain call lands, and my lord! That's hit down.
Say!
Explosive from Panda.
Oh,
That's the
yo.
plan for them. Like, go out and do the unexpected, right? They expect us to go with Aria. with
Mantap,
Panda.
bro.
Koshi going down there, Nicolette just getting the
Gila
kill.
kau tengok tadi tu, guys.
GG.
Lompat lah, guys.
Just manipulating the game. Like, what do you expect us to do? We'll do the opposite, right? And
Mantap
right
ya
now,
asli.
they're winning most of the classes that they want. They're going for the pickups, and it's actually working to their favor.
Gaming Gladiators are really just capitalizing on the mistakes. Does seem like, yeah, Terror Queens, they look to be on the...
Oh, asli.
Jumps in a pin down from nowhere. Yes, she dies, but she's got the value out of it. It's a kill on Rui.
Gila lah asli ni, bros.
Hilda, Panda doing a lot of damage, so melting her down. It gets caught with the missile arrow, but Sayori's right there. Panda cutting away. Now the shadow kill from Nicolette together with Sayori. It's enough to win them the trade. 4 for 3
Gila,
in
bros.
the end.
A big advantage here for Gaming Gladiators. There's going to be Lunalin left here. So she can do much here against Sayori and Nicolette. Let's talk about that sacrifice play. That very good play here.
No, go back.
Like, just imagine Ashley going for the pull plus Aria's heavy spin prevents anyone. from Turkey to just actually go for the counter engage. Yes, you do have the idea here for Cool, trying to negate some of what Aria did to them, but still you cannot deny that you wouldn't want to keep your eyes off of Nicolette with her Hayabusa.
You can see the reaction there from Panda. Now, whoa! Some
Rio,
action
Rio,
up
Rio.
top. Game and Gladiators.
Kau bapak tengok asli mak tengok.
Game 1, losing game 1, they would.
Asli mak tanker ke? Asli mak tanker ke guys
Game 3, they won't be as dominant as they
Kalau
are.
menang ni guys aku akan berikan mandat dekat Ashley guys dia aku gelarkan dia adalah mak tanker guys
1v3 goes for the shadow kill.
Mak tanker.
Crazy damage on Hlang and Luna Lin, forcing to revitalize out from the Hilda.
And that's what you want, just to try and punish them as much as you can, even if it means activating your ultimate, as long as you try and delay things up for them, disrupt their process, disrupt their rotation. For Gaming Gladiators, that's the plan here. Just distract them, just be the decoy. Ultimate activated here for Sayori. Aria with a heavy spin.
Aria gempak bongo Aria.
Panda gets the kill. Amazing pickoff again. Cool. Not too sure if you want to actually flank this composition. The carry melts you down. They have enough peel. The Abyssal Arrow dodged away from. The Gladiators will continue on. Hulking Sakoshi down. Now up top they go to a wave.
Kelas bos
Look to be good for Terra Queens, but for Gaming Gladiators, this
Bagi mandat mak tanker je
for them
boleh.
rotating up top. They're just gonna go and set up for the neutral objective.
It is. Somehow it's an unshakable coordination between Aria and Ashley with this Padang. And with the proper layer, Panda would have a hard time, or will have a fun time.
I gotta give props to Aria.
Yeah.
The only big concern I had this game was how would Aria perform on the Akai, right? Just knowing her playstyle from the last 2 games. She's always been kind of like an individual player. Oh, miscoordination a bit there. Ashley with a fist crack, Panda no ult. A big window of opportunity for the Terra Queens. But so far, Aria has been playing an amazing game, just enabling the team instead of playing solo like she does on other heroes.
Nak
She
tanker
does
ras.
have to adjust to Ashley's gameplay as well, as you mentioned. They go hand in hand. It's a proper combination if you have the Akai, the Badang, and this game for GG. And you have to level up somehow. The adjustment is working here for Gaming Gladiators, but we could definitely see some glimpse of what Aria is trying to do with her solo skills, or solo mechanical skills. You have this sudden urge to just try and jump with heavy spin, but you also have to think carefully because you want to go and get the best of it. Langlina down. Might be a free lord here for GG with that pick off. Big advantage yet again here.
Absolutely phenomenal from Gaming Gladiators. They're just playing with the fundamentals of MLBB. Push down below, make it a slow push, go up top, control it, and go for a pickoff once you see the Irithel in the bottom lane, clearing it out. GG are playing with the fundamentals, and Terra Queens are left confused. They're so used to seeing GG play that team fighting style of game number 1, and now they don't know what to do, right? They were prepared for the Lancelot, for the Granger, and now that GG are playing for Panda and Sayori, it gets confusing for Terra Queens. This is not according to their game plan. But so arrow lands, but there's no one to follow it up. Nicolette jumps into the bot shadow, zones them away from a possible
You're
all
right
in.
about them being confused. Is it a different version? Is this different ladies that we're talking about you're playing against? Like, Gaming Gladiators just tried and somehow huge another page onto their book to try and prevent Turkish from reading them. There's no spoiler alert, but Nicolette onto Rui one-on-one!
Shadow kill, Shuriken doesn't get the kill into the bottom lane. Panda
GG.
is able to get the kill on Sakoshi, now goes straight for the face. Gaming Gladiators at match point in semifinals. A game away, a step away from a grand final spot.
Wow. Our Queen Slayers gaining another point. They only need one more win to secure that spot. And things are quite looking up here. All those adjustments, all those thoughts and smiles here onto our camera is really, really radiating here. A very positive environment here for GG. What a nice win for game number 3.
The Terra Queens back to the drawing board.
And so far, I do hope that our panel are ready to break that game number 3.
Gila bro, gila. Kuat bro.
You heard that right, and you can't deny it. Gaming Gladiators are one game win away from making it to the grand finals of MWI, and they did so in dominating fashion. I'm not shocked. There wasn't a Kai, so I'm not shocked.
Yeah, actually, Aria played really well. There were lots of heavy spins that was used just to push back the players whenever they're taking some of the objectives, sometimes to pin down heroes or players from Terror Queens, as to why they actually had control in majority of the team fights, and gave up a lot of space for Nicolette to fight. This is the perfect heavy spin against a hero that has vengeance, so there's a free hit for Panda, and it just has been continuously effective and efficient for GG.
I agree. I think the layering of skills was also what really brought the Akai heavy spin to life, because we're seeing time and time again that Ashley is able to find opportunities with the fist crack. This was one of the moments that she did not, but it was enough to kind of zone the rest of the members away because they wanted to go for the disengage. But for the majority of the team fights, when they were able to get good trades in, that was what happened. Ashley plus Aria chemistry down.
The walls getting set up by the Badang, the heavy spin coming in, and it didn't always need to be them.
Mak tanker tak ada, mak tanker.
Sometimes it would be Panda deciding, all right, who's setting up for me now? Will it be the Badang? Will it be the Akai? There were a lot of options for the gold laner of gaming.
I agree. And there were a lot of moments where at the latter portion of the game, Ashley is just right in front of Sayori. So every time there is an arrow from Lunalyn that will hit some of the players of Gaming Gladiators, she's just ready to go for the counter initiation or somehow protect her teammate. And I gotta say, for the players of Gaming Gladiators, they're just living up to that role that they have and just doing what they need to do. If the EXP lane is to set up the play, then they know when. Same goes with Hayabusa. There was a mirror split push for Terror Queens, but Nicolette is just rotating rapidly against TQ.
They played the map really well. They played the rotations really well. The macro was impeccable too, with the slow pushes that were happening when they went in for neutral objective takes. And I think what really stood out for me was what happened in the early game, right? Carry and Iritel in the gold lane. There's an argument to be made.
Ada member Romo sebelum ni.
Mantap bro.
Mantap bro.
Panda would need a little bit more time to get to the power spike, and Chikoshi should
power,
get it
bro,
faster,
bro.
but there's a layer of mobility that the Iritel has, and surprisingly enough, 3 minutes in, solo kill by the carry onto the Iritel. So that already made things very difficult for TQ to get to that point where they can turn things around.
Yeah, and also one of the priority items for Aria was the blade armor, so it was a lot more hard for
Apa saya betul game ni? Ini aku rasa vitality boleh ni. Aku rasa final GG dengan ni, aku rasa GG dengan vitality aku rasa confirm ah.
If you look at the damage dealt for Sayori and even Panda, it goes to show that it's very efficient against the TQ, because the damage that you can sustain over time isn't really that enough for TQ, because their hero composition is meant to just really dive against the players of TQ.
Yeah.
I mean, against GG.
And that looked kind of crazy. I don't know if the stats that
GG.
we showed were completely accurate, but it looks like Rui was completely shut down in that game, that she didn't even scratch 10,000 damage dealt. I don't think she even scratched 8,000. It looked like it was like around
3
or maybe even 2,000.
I mean, even if it was correct, it does make sense, right? Because every time she wants to go in for neutral objective fights or skirmishes, as long as the Panda is there and as long as there is the Badang as well, it's very difficult for her to output that damage. We saw that she was shut down a few times. But yeah, I didn't expect that little damage coming out from Rui.
When you have a Joy on the board, and then especially if you have it paired with something like a Selena, you're expecting the Joy to carry a good amount of that damage load. Equally, actually, with the Selena, you shut down one and that's it. And it seems like that's what Gaming Gladiators has leaned in on for games 2 and 3. As long as they have a strong pick that stops the team fighting tempo of Terror Queens just looks incredibly uncomfortable.
Yeah, I would agree, because the lineup of Terror Queens is, again, just like what I've mentioned, is more on the dive. So I think for Terror Queens, it is something that they could change. come game number 3. It came number 3 for game number 4. So yep, I think for Terra Queens now, they might want to change some of the heroes probably for Rui that could actually go and have some trades, because it is being answered now by Gaming Gladiators. And I gotta say, for Gaming Gladiators, very solid in terms of laning. One, specifically for Panda, even though she is sometimes at a discrepancy, or there is a discrepancy in terms of gold, she knows that there is a potential chance for her to lessen the gap as long as she stays on the lane, but at the same time, she knows when to
Final ni kat besok
the
final.
team fight. So it's just Aria and Ashley giving up enough space, and Vision probably support to other lanes as to why it's very effective for both Nicolette and even a Panda to just roam around.
Yeah. All right. So earlier there was something you touched on, especially with the relationship in the gold lane, with what Panda was able to do against Sikoshi there. So they are actually going to be our head-to-head. So you can take the floor for this one, Eterna.
Yeah, we touched on it a little bit earlier on, and I was really surprised at the fact that we're seeing a lot more progress from Panda on a hero that we haven't really seen her play on just yet. So TQ came into this going like, all right, Panda, you're really good at the Granger, let's take that away from you. But it turns out when you take one head, another grows in its place.
Hydra.
Exactly.
Mythological creature.
Exactly, and she's playing like she is. Looking at the stats, you can see she's winning in almost everything. I think Chantel put it really well. Despite the discrepancy in gold, she still played it really safe until she got to that power spike that came quite quickly. I think it was before minute 10 even when she got that trio for the carry, because of the space that was given from the rest of the members of the team. Imagine you're caught in a situation where there's so much skill shots that you need to kind of run away from. With Lunalyn, 100% win rate, by the way, on the Selena. Now not 100% win rate. She was still able to weave in and out of these team fights. Shows mastery on the carry too.
I'm going to have to echo that statement. It seems like from day one compared to now, we've just seen the steady growth of Panda. For Gaming Gladiators, they're a type of team that, of course, the middle of the map draws so much views, so much eyes, but then it sort of ends up overlooking the side lanes. But then eventually, Aria as well as Panda have just progressed to the point where it's sort of like you can't ignore them anymore. You really have to look at them as much as you look at Ashley, Nicolette, and Sayori.
Now, one moment they are on a defensive stance, and then the moment you blink, already on the offensive stances. And I kind of feel like here for Gaming Gladiators, every time that they change their pos 5 or their tank hero and even their EXP lane, the dynamics of the whole play or how they roam around the map is different. So, but for the rest of the players, Sayori, Nicolette, and even Panda, they stick to the principles of the role. So there's a change in the rotation, yes, but at the same time, it is very unpredictable for Terror Queens on how to somehow answer that aggression. And for Terror Queens, they haven't really brought up much of a surprise coming into this series, so it's just unpredictable versus predictable.
Yeah. That's 3 games now where we've seen Joy picked up for Terror Queens, right? Like, that's actually the surprise to me, that they've leaned in so hard on Joy for 3 games in a row. Gaming Gladiators have shown that, okay, if their rotation in the center of the map gets busted, that's where they have difficulty. Terror Queens,
babu, tak kena ban
fighting gets interrupted.
Guys,
That's
aku
where
kena
they
ban.
have difficulty.
I agree. That's why game number 2, game number 3, the way that GG
Dah macam mana,
the
guys?
way that they were able to layer the skills and ruin the formation of TQ was just on point. It was brilliant. We usually see the changes in tempo because of set team fights. So coming into this game, TQ really need to think about this because one, they've already tried shutting down the gold lane, didn't work.
Yes, aku nak try guys. Tahu kena bet dia lebih tak
at taking Ashley down in the drafts as well also didn't work. So do they want to lean
Aku nak tengok
in
kena
on
tak kena
the
guys
outfits
untuk
a
aku
little
punya
bit more? I
TikTok aku.
agree that you mentioned the Joy pick 3 times in a row, and considering Rui, one of her signature heroes coming into this tournament has been the Lancelot. So do they now want to fight fire with fire?
That's a really good question. Let's see how Terror Queens will answer, because they will need to answer, and it needs to begin in the draft. If the Queens of Myanmar wants to force game number 5, they need to start it off with the picks. 2 games in a row now, they've had to deal with heroes.
Hello bos, Assalamualaikum bos.
mess up their
Weh, ni seru. Ni last match. Harap-harap tak kena.
a little bit too much in disrupting
Aku tak tahu lah kalau kena nanti malam tak boleh G pula guys. Tak boleh TV nanti malam ni tak boleh stream.
Yeah, even actually the Ling hasn't been considered yet by Terror Queens, but they're one of those teams that actually uses it and they play with it very well. So in terms of the drafting, I think that is the most crucial part, because that's the strength also of gaming gladiators. They have this tendency to
Salam sobat. Waalaikumsalam. Asri lawa je. Oi, kau suka sili ke? Kau suka bulu mata dia ke bro?
PH2 is the Queen of Year, even had the Angela. So for Terror Queens, it's just them battling fire with fire, I guess, because Hayabusa hasn't picked that much from the team. Even we've mentioned about the
Ramai yang suka Ashley guys
the Lancelot and
Tim Aria strong juga je. Kuat lah
I
dia.
think with the idea of having the Hilda as their priority pick, this is the second time
Orang Malaysia pun kuat juga Nabi MY, tapi diorang hilang identiti lah guys.
And yeah,
Kan?
for Terror Queens, they just need to cover all
Asli
lanes,
gini
and
bagus.
somehow have this hero that has better displacement, around, or has better mobility.
Gameplay dia cantik, gameplay dia sangat-sangat cantik, kata baik guys.
Get a whole grasp of whatever is happening.
Alright, here
Nicolette pun okey, Nicolette pun
Here is
gameplay dia
the
pun
lead
mantap
system
guys.
getting taken away,
Kau sangat
going
guys.
for the standard top meta pick bans for
Nicolette
Gaming Gladiators, while Terror
paling
Queens
power sebab dia kalahkan
already
Navi
looking to
power
go on
PH
the
je.
offensive in
Tahu
terms
tak
of
pasal
the
Navi PH dia boleh bantai ni kan bulletin diorang ni guys. Ini kira power dah guys.
and they showed it's not just about the Minotaur.
Sebenarnya Ashley ni banyak berguru dengan aku juga sebab ni. Dia adalah dia boleh nobatkan sebagai mak tanker lah. Kalau dia champion ni aku akan angkat dia akan menjadi mandat
I would agree.
menjadi
I would
mak
agree.
tanker guys, mak
Because,
tanker.
with the Hylos, I think more in the single.
Boleh ke ini macam enggak bro? Boleh ke bro itu macam bro?
You want to prioritize on the AOE like explosive, since they are heavy on
Ya.
team fights.
Gak betul
But
guys.
it's gonna be
Mak tanker betul.
now.
Ya.
For Gaming Gladiators, it's just literally shouting, okay, we had the badang. You didn't have a good time earlier when you picked the joy. So I think for Terror Queens, it's about time to take the Hayabusa if they want to, or take the Granger.
Bro. Ai dah bro.
Okay, much better pick this time around.
So they eliminate it, right? They take it away from Nicolette, going to go
Take
for
it back into that.
more aggression, a little change coming through. And surprisingly enough, not a lot of Baxias, yeah.
Masih jadi je, eh?
Standout in
Faham
game
angkat
number
saya.
1, but coming to game number 4, we haven't seen it picked up just yet. So are we expecting an assassin battle in the jungle, and an assassin battle we will get? Lancelot now picked in for Nicolette here, alongside the power pick that we can consider now for, Panda.
It feels like this is Gaming Gladiators telling the world, like, okay, no need to doubt the carry of Panda anymore. We're gonna confidently pick it in the very
Gila, JJ punya hero guys. Kari Badang dengan Lance Saul. Lance Saul. Oi, menang lagi ada orang guys, menang.
No wait, with the Hayabusa on the other side, they have
Menang bro.
either two picks, a Lilia in the mid or a Kimi yet again.
Kimi is actually nice, but this is a fast or early Lapo pick for Terror Queens. Although it's not on the flex, it's gonna be EXP lane. I was thinking about the Jawhead for Terror Queens actually, just for the sake of having the Hayabusa carry potential, or
Keluar lah ni.
with the
Keluar glue guys glue. Main glue Aria. Ada main glue Aria.
Granger actually, Jawhead Granger would be nice for Terror Queens, but for Gaming Gladiators, Baksha ban is pretty fair.
They can still go back to Rome. There's enough room.
Basia. Allah Akbar. Basia room tak sesuai tak ayalah Basia room.
Susceptible to the Badang Rome, Eterna?
It is very difficult for him to get the picks right, because even if
Diorang
they
betulnya
go for
respect band Ashley punya Gatot kacau. Gatot
potential
bagus
with the Badang, and that's what GG are really good at, right? Counter engage. Ashley, Aria, the layering of skills that we saw from the previous game makes it so. GG now in the second phase.
Halo je, assalamualaikum guys. Bantu tap lagi guys. Boleh tak? Tap dulu guys, tap dulu. Aku macam okey ni.
What do they want to go for the gold lane here? Is it a Moskov?
Bantu tap dulu guys. Aku macam okey guys. Tap dulu guys, tap dulu.
Safest against a Lancelot.
Guys, tolong guys, minta tolong guys. Tap layar bos. Minta tolong bos. Bos saya minta tolong sangat bos. Boleh ke bos? Tap layar bos. Boleh ke bos? Satu game ni guys. Harap-harap besok kita dah boleh ni guys kita boleh nobar untuk grand final. Kat WC tak boleh tap bukan dekat ni dekat TikTok. TikTok saya terlive dekat TikTok.
Angela, so just so that they can empower the Earth, that's already way too greedy. You need more control. TC gets taken away, so this might be a signal that they're going to be going for a slower front line in the roam. Despite the jawhead possibility that you brought up.
Yep, I think for your
Kenapa boleh buat je? Tadi kena report. Dia kena ni. Saya kena bukan violation. Saya kena copyright strike. Ni kena strike tadi.
Type of setup. But for gaming gladiators, Bruno could be an option for the ban. Probably Moskov. So
yeah, it is a Moskov.
More on the safer route for gaming gladiators, since a Moskov could be a headache for them just in case it goes for that split push and you don't want a hero that will surprise you with a spear of destruction.
Yeah. I think they have to go Harith here, right? They need more magic damage. That's already way too much physical on the side of Terror Queens. Or maybe they might even consider going Kimi Gold lane.
Kimi Gold lane. I would agree with that. Kimi Gold lane because of the range also.
Let's go.
Carry and if the Badang will rotate on that area, and then it's gonna be hard for them. Now that you have the Carmilla, they can go 1-1 actually. Carmilla 1-1 or any gold lane would be nice to be paired with a Carmilla.
No, I agree. I think the 1-1 is a potential here.
1-1.
Technically, she should be able to dodge a lot of these abilities as well. Level 1, level 2, the 1-1 is also very kind of gross in the lane, right? Being a lane bully. But let's take a look before that potential at GG. They're now looking for a mid laner and potentially an PSP laner, right? The Badang should be for Ashley. Do they want to fight fire with fire? I think Farsa is a little bit too difficult. They go,
Paramis and Akai
into the Carmilla?
Yeah, they really want to go all in here. Then again, if you drop down the Curse of Blood by the Carmilla, the Akai can push him out, and then they want the Faramis for safety because they're going to be very aggressive in this.
Yeah, I think Coach Rexvin and Coach Mindad actually knew that one was the Faramis.
Alright.
Even dia ada ultimate dia boleh buat apa. Ada kalau Paramis boleh main boleh ni. Dah menang. GG menang. GG grand final bos. Here we go. GG here we go guys grand final. GG punya draft aduh. Sebab aku suka dia draft. Cantik. Kalah draft guys ni. Siapa ni? Kalah draft siapa ni?
Gaming gladiators.
Team apa ni Terror Queen. Respect ke streamer tak tahu respect ke streamer ke bos. Yang penting kan sampai tak layar kan saya. Tadi view saya sampai 600 bos. Lepas tu kena ni. Dia kena apa? Dia kena copyright strike. Tak tahu ada okey tak ni. Yakin ni Jeb? Yakin. Ini saya bro.
Yes.
Tu EG project bro.
Against Carmilla, but I think Coach Midnight and Coach Rexvin knew the 1-1 was coming. The Faramis is a
So mama final ke mama?
We'll see how they execute it because at this point it really comes down to how you use the Nether Realm. If you use it early,
ini semi final bro. Si boy ini semi final dah.
Use it at the right time up against the 1-1. Then GG could very well be our first grand final is almost a soul kill up top. Sakoshi with the Inspire, Sayori rotating down below with a Stampede. Who gets to revitalize down and actually win out in that trade.
We could definitely feel the anger coming out from Sakoshi with this 1-1. She already played the Irrital 3 times in a row, and for the final game, this is what our panel was talking about. They need a change of scenery. They need a change of facing here for Terror Queens. Rui onto Nicolette.
First blood, well played to Rui. Utilizing the quad shadow, efficiently pops it in, doesn't use it to the end here. Almost a kill. Sayori walks back outside of it. Ashley gets a punch.
Okay, there's going to be somewhat of an equalizer
Gelap bongok asli ni power lah Roma dia ras.
To the topic here, but before we go back, going on to Panda, Gui is just on fire with this.
Power be Ashley punya Roma bros.
Kills at the start of the game for the Hayabusa is not what you want to see for game and
Ingat guys kita boleh bagi title mak tanker dekat Ashley guys Korea bro game dia.
It is actually. It's a great head start, especially here for Sikoshi, eyeing out onto building up earlier items here, basing on the MDM builds. But they don't want us to analyze the game. They want to go for continuous attempts here onto the mid lane, and we do understand Aria. Flicker forced out.
Different matchup entirely this time around in the XP lane. Aria can't just go and CC lock Lang with the Lapu Lapu. You've got a lot of tools, man. Anti-CC built in. Ashley's thrown down below.
Yes.
Aria knows there's no bravest fighter, so they're still going to try to contest for the neutral objective 1.
Yeah, for Terror Queens, even if they have the 1-1, as you mentioned, it's all about the timing here. The
terus
layer
lagi ni.
for
GG.
to totally somehow disrupt the process here. But Ashley
GG menang terus GG
being targeted by Cool. There's going to be the Fury of Phoenix activated.
Boleh kita nak GG menang terus
Rui might reset that.
That was a way too early curse of blood. Aria now looks for the heavy spin. Gets Lang. But that's about it. Now use the second one to bring the spider. Look for rotation earlier.
Okay,
Wow!
The flicker Sayori sets up for the blast.
Kau tengok guys, diorang ada game plan bro. Power babe, GG babe. Kau tengok tadi tu.
it's just like a slingshot. They pulled over
Woi,
two
champion
members
cakap
down.
kau Aria nama melonjak naik bros. Power lah Ashley dengan ni Sayuri. Sayuri power bro. Sayuri.
Gladiators. With that said, they easily eliminated
Mid
the
dia padu,
Gladiators,
bro.
managed by Terror Queens even onto the top lane. Although
Kau tengok.
Sikoshi being cornered out, can she do it? Nielsen Flower activated, Breath
Tengok,
Wolf
counter.
down.
Pak counter.
There you go. That's another realm to beat.
Dapat tak guys, counter 1-1.
You see it here in the game. For GG,
Babu Aria, let's go.
Goldie, despite giving away a big chunk of the third shield over to Sikoshi, I think it's fine. It's a good trade. And so far, Panda
It is.
has been winning out of the gold lane. Not through laning, but through being more active around the map in all, what, 3 games
Gebak.
we've seen so far.
It's all about how you somehow get
Silo
relief
siao.
and other factors, right? You don't have to be solely focused
Sumpah
on
Silo bro.
You could just try and join them.
Power.
And look at that cute reaction here for Sayori.
Posisi Panda Panda pun tahan juga jap yang training Panda. Panda pun mantap.
Crucial play right there. A carry literally here for Gaming Gladiators mid laner. But going back to topic here, as you mentioned, Panda wasn't winning onto the early, onto 1v1, right? Onto Sikoshi. But it was very crucial of her to be present, like to be at the top of them, playing out their strengths, which is a properly layered.
Asula masuk ke dia.
And the timing for who wasn't there yet. Like Crimson Blood was a bit too early on. So Terror Queens on the other hand needs to just relax, chill down, just try and wait for the perfect moment. But Ashley just keeps on interrupting her also. So Ku is having a really hard time right now.
Kacau baik ni. Badang-badang dia kacau.
I think she's trying to bait out the passive from
Allah
the mid
Akbar.
there. Could have been massive had she gotten it.
Allah Akbar.
Spawning in the game, 5th minute in, Rui, great position to try to look for an assassination.
Okay, diorang akan fight dekat turtle guys nanti guys Oh, Sayuri. Sorry, sama.
Aria in the back zoning them away. Sayori has kept the Nether Realm up.
And that is
Ini kalau respect streamer lagi cantik ni kalau Terror Queen menang guys.
For Langrina, GG knows there are certain setups here that could not lock them down, but instead they could go and try to punish Cool or whoever is onto the front lines, getting ready for the battle.
Curse of Blood used up, but it's only on 3 members there. Oh, great another round to save them in the back, and Nicolette finds an
Habis.
assassination. Sikoshi gets of it all now. Good bravest fighter, Panda
Lost Caesar.
Quickers in forward now. Look forward now. It's gonna be Rui who wins it out, but Ashley.
Babu bungok Ashley. Power bungok Ashley.
In as Nicolette finds a double.
Ashley gila bro.
Here given onto Nicolette. Plus, that was a very nice setup play there by Ashley. And that's
Sumpah Ashley boleh nobatkan orang kata MVP guys. Power bro Ashley.
Stick to the plan. Let Aria do her job. Just show off Sikoshi, even if they have or take down 2 or 1 member because of the passive over Sayori. She could be just needed, or she could just go back onto the
Kelas, bro.
needed And Nicolette just
Asli aku rasa MVP lah, guys. Asli MVP lah.
everyone onto her pathway. TQ
Kalau grand final lah, kalau ada champion lah, aku rasa asli MVP. Power tu.
Execution coup has been way too early on the Curse of Bloods. 2 out of 2 times now. I think she needs to save it. She needs to save it for when the Netherrealm comes out.
Sometimes it's the element of surprise, right? You just need to be somewhat ready for it. But at the same time, Aria heavy spin activated on the back.
Just crack on 2 now. The
Sumpah,
capitalization.
kena block lah teammate. Oi, di Nikolai.
Nicolette in the back with a crossbow tank will land. Nicolette trying
Sui.
to survive, gets shut down by Ku as Lang stays alive. TQ
Ui.
running them down. Sayori falling as well. Rui
Tak
coming
kena
in
sini.
to look for one last kill, but Ashley is a bit too tanky.
And that's it. for
Alamak. Baguslah guys kalau dia menang, Terwi menang kan, bagi seru sikit guys kan. Final final.
Find her rhythm, right?
Betul lah guys, semi final bagi seru sikit ah.
For the crown, looking at our instant replay, that was a really nice setup. But remember, with just one pure Phoenix, it eliminates all the rest for the continuous damage for GG.
I hope they've learned
Wawan
from
jadi tu.
that TQ because
They
that was the prime example of what I was saying.
Yeah.
Wait for the Netherrealm, then use
Tapi
the
lagi
Curse of
Wawan
Blood.
jadi
That's how you
tu.
beat out the Netherrealm. That's how you utilize the
Labu
counter
kacau tu.
using the Curse of
Labu
Blood.
kacau juga.
You can't just use it initially for the fight. You gotta give Lang, you gotta give Luna Lin more trust to just be the ones.
Aku rasa kalau dia ambil ni kan, bagus better dia ambil ni guys
You're gonna have to be more reactive.
Rizla ke.
You just have to give it some time, right? Like, it doesn't have to be cool. Constantly on the front, just dishing out the ultimate. As
Apa
much
tengok?
as we want to see
Kena ni lah, Aria kena
like
pakai hati
they
dia.
want
Aria
to
kena pakai hati dia
finish
untuk
the round,
untuk tangkap
but
Wawan.
That isn't how their draft works, right? That isn't how their lineup works. They just need to trust the process over Langrina. And even if they see a Sayori or the threat of Aria here, they could just wait
Ngantuk
it
ya.
out. They have that kind of advantage, right?
Apa
And
yang
for
hilang
most
apa
of
ni?
the players here for Green Gladiators, they
Hilangkan
have to be
garu
in
apa
close
ni?
proximity,
Padu lalu
and
dia.
that's the beauty with the
Nak
pure
pecah lah
Phoenix.
kalau Parami tak
With just
sempat
one
ikat.
click, everyone in the vicinity will be like stopping
Sakit
on their
juga.
tracks. And now the Lord being started by Nicolette. Stun here is Aria. It's going to be a jump here for Langrina.
Dapat.
The Curse of Blood was used
Oi,
early,
dapat
and
balance
Nicolette
road.
able to survive. Ashley with a 2-man
Ashley.
takedown. Rui looking for the shadow kill, able to find it as Ashley gets taken out as Aria tries her best to go for the back. Sayori gets a kill onto Rui.
Mantap mati
Aria
guys.
gets away. Sakoshi's looking for the chase as Sayori has to go for the shadow stampede backwards. TQ in the fight.
Aria.
Aria gets cancelled in the bush. Lang knows she's there, and Aria is all alone in enemy line. She should be dead here. The bravest fighter to take her down. Lang on a killing spree, but Gaiman still got the Lord.
Huge trade here for Terra Queens. Even if that is the Lord that Nicolette and friends got here, but remember, as
Uy,
mentioned, just proper layering here for Ku and even Langrina is just what they need. They've got the right mix of aggressiveness plus the balance of crowd controls, right? And they also managed to somehow take down Panda in the process. TQ somehow
Nantok.
already upped up their fighting chance here. But Ashley did a great job. Sakoshi trying to run away and could actually tore down Ashley in the process.
Yeah, Panda went to the shred. It's going to be 1-for-1, Roamer for Rome. They're desperately trying to get value out of this
Okay.
Lord. They have gotten the charge down below.
See. Okay, we see some action, a little bit of action.
Semoga panjang umur, murah rezeki kita. Terima kasih Fit. Terima kasih for the wish. Happy birthday ketua. Thank you very much Fit
And try onto the gangs here.
Terima kasih,
Like,
Ketua.
whenever they see Nicolette, we wouldn't hesitate to try and go with a shadow kill or even a shurikens here. Looking at their in-game equipment as well, they're catching up like on a lot, right?
Allah.
The gold comparison here already built up the Berserker Fury here for Sakoshi. That's why her or Kunai's, whatever it is so
Tu lah, lama pula tadi
strong
barang.
right now, touring up each and every members onto the front from the gaming gladiators. And so far, even onto the mid lane, not so much of a difference, but we could definitely see how they play out with the Zetian pick for Lunalin.
Sakoshi has also gone for the non-crossbow tank build, which is a crit build, ladies and gentlemen. Basically a way for her to deal damage without the crossbow tank, just going for the basic attacks, constantly utilizing the mobility, and yeah, they have damage output of the basic attacks. Knowing, again, they're up against that Netherrealm. That
Let's
could
go, GG.
counter the crossbow tank hard.
She just needs to somehow try to find the damage elsewhere, right? You just need to adjust onto
Itu
your
momennya ni untuk
itemization as well.
awal-awal
But
jadi
for
lah guys.
GG, they also need to adjust somehow
sangat tu.
onto
Oh.
where to fight onto TQ. There are certain aspects here onto the map that you wouldn't want
Itu
to be
annoying.
really
Situ memang
close
sumpah
on
udah
the
sumpit
corners,
dia tu.
because that is where Langrina and also Lunalin shines out the best. But it's also somehow of a good position if you want to go for a very powerful pickup here for Ashley. But talking about pickups here, 9-12 onto the kill score. TQ just totally resetted what happened onto the previous games, and now for game number 4, we're seeing some action yet again.
This crack into the damage belt.
Oh, Aria.
That's a big curse of blood, but Aria has done her job, zoning everyone away. Great Netherrealm too. Skoshi with the Inspire. Looking for the play, Hlang. A little flicker, but it's just with the stun. Panda is going to be able to cut away from this one, and she does. Shut down for Nicolette. Ashley again with the cancel.
Oh!
Ashley going to be taken down, but the shadow kill. Sayori brings Rui back with a stampede. Ends up being 2 for 2. Panda very low. TQ going to go straight for the Lord.
TQ has a very nice counter engage attacks here. Meanwhile, for Gaming Gladiators, they have this kind of advantage to start off being the aggressor. But Nicolette!
Threat from Panda. And that's Nicolette falling too. Buys the win of nature, Sakoshi. A bit too late now. Rui, wow, they're still staying.
They are. They aren't
Rui, quad
scared.
shadow, landing again, so you're gonna be stun locked.
Hey!
Panda got the fade away. 2-man curse of blood. Sayori pops into another realm.
Gila Panda ni.
Ku has to run. Revitalize coming in. The Ghost Burster's not enough. Sayori silence the bravest fighter there. Sayori with the flicker out. Dishes out a bit more damage before she was taken down. But Panda's still here. Gets the unstoppable. Ashley
GG, bro.
comes in again to re-engage and lock them down for Panda to get the shots down. Hlang thrown and melted down by Panda.
What a play here for GG, and they're not stopping their Sakoshi onto Panda. Goes off down.
Oh.
Answer with win a crown. Sayori back again. Those stats
Gelu pandai.
really helping her here. Double time respawning quick as Nicolette has to deal with the wave up top. But we know what the main goal is. It's the Lord. Winter crown built for Nicolette.
So far
Nanti.
into the chase down, we were kind of like, why are you coming back? It's only you and Sayori, right? But that was a plan to just try and dish out as much as they can.
Cepat layanan GG, Pak. GG, go, GG, Ena terus, GG, Ena.
Perfect example of what Aria play or gives onto the table with her Panda.
Dah, Ena, GG.
Pick rather.
Dah menang.
And with that said, they have this perfect
GG,
plan
bang,
to
GG
play
ya.
with
No.
Aria and Ashley, right? And that is how you want to somehow give her the position. But remember, you still have Sakoshi to think about. You need to find a way to somehow negate
Pandai
her
apa ni?
damage.
Pandai hilang kita tu.
Just put it on
Nak
the
power tu
side.
Panda.
Let's pick up the side right now. Looking at the side.
Aria
there's
execution
both
mana
their
dia?
junglers
Aria
clearing
punya
up the
stop. Oi, dah
lane.
lawa ni. Lawa.
Two stun.
Lawa, bro. Aira combo ya. Salam GG, bro.
Damage of Panda 1. That's a double
For you, bro.
Lord.
Apa ah.
And Rui can only
Gila, GG guys.
two in the mid lane falling for Terra Queens, but GG
Glass, boss.
again with a winning team fight.
Ashley is your girl.
Aria dengan Ashley memang the pairing, the real pairing, bro.
Right. And for Terragris, I was just saying that Sakoshi is son of
Apa ni, cantik Ashley? Cantik ke cantik?
Glory, right? And you need to protect her. And for GG, they need to find a way to corner her out. But literally, it happened. Span of what, 5 to 10 seconds, and then they're down. And now for GG, they actually had the chance to tore down inhibitor turrets here onto the base of TQ, being forced to defend Sayori here onto the front line. That is a very aggressive move here for GG.
Asli
And
cantik
now
kan, Jeb?
eyeing their sights
Entah.
onto the base of TQ.
Aku tak tahu nak dekat macam mana
Let's
Ashley
go
cantik.
to the next
Bulu
move
mata
here.
dia, sebab kau tengok bulu mata dia, guys. Cuba dia cabut bulu mata dia, bro. Oh. Masuk guys, sakitnya Panda. Gila, bro.
They have another wave, massive Ghost Bursters landing.
Sayori lagi cantik.
Rui comes in with a quad shadow and the shadow kill. The Spurs
Wow.
to take 2 down.
Apa Arui?
GG with a disengage.
Very nice
Kuat,
goal
kuat,
there
kuat.
for Rui. Taking down 2 members, but remember with the passive, Sayori will still be resurrected, but there's going to be another
Aria.
flash here. Aria with a heavy speed.
Mati bongok menang, bro.
Scramble, go,
Abe, GG bro. GG bro.
Responding to
Wait,
back
ada
her
macam juga
up.
ni.
Can they defend? Phantom execution up front with the Thorn Rose as well as a puncture
Weh,
lands
atas. Bapak
on
pandai,
her
power
leg.
saya pandai.
Seems like GG, you're gonna have to go for the turret up top. Panda has immortality, a stun over from flying over to Aria. Immortality still up, but it will be down now. Nicolette jumps in the puncture now, but the base is gonna be wide open. Gaming Gladiators, no minions, brought back by Hlag. It's still all the members there wiped out. Gaming Gladiators.
Gila GG bro.
These forgotten ashes, etching an odyssey that leads them to the MWI 2025 finals.
Our first grand finalist.
Bro, besok kita tengok final guys Bapak power kan. Ini power bro dia ni.
What a very circle run. What a moment to celebrate. And now they rise above. Setting up more
Power bro
standards
dia orang.
along the way. Breaking barriers and creating their own legacy here at MWI 2025.
Ini aku rasa vitality lah guys Indo lawan ni ah.
One of the greatest runs we've ever seen.
Ria bro, ria.
From a region that we thought was going to be forgotten.
Ini orang mantap bro.
NA is back. We thought it could be the men's division, but it's the women's who shine here today.
It is. And our queens, every second, every decision, every draft.
Boleh kenapa ketua baru on?
define
Tak ada lah
the
tadi aku
future,
kena report.
define the
Aku kena report
journey
tadi.
here
Entah kena report pula aku
for
kuah asal tu.
gaming gladiators. This is a huge statement and a huge honor for NA region. Finally have their representative on the
esok.
grand finals. What? Let's go over onto our main stage with our host, Cheryl.
Legends are forged in fire and steel. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting to you our gladiators right here. And they are secured for grand finals. What an absolute cinema that we have just witnessed. Did they hesitate? Did they stutter? They did not, and they have dominated. Here I have Ashley as well as Nicolette. Pleasure to have you ladies here with me.
Thank you.
My queens. Now, Ashley, to you first. This is the first time in international MLBB that NA has stepped into the grand finals itself to have this achievement finally reclaim the glory for NA. So how are you feeling about this?
It's kind of surreal. It's crazy. Like, we came from a 0-2 beginning, and it kind of slowly went up, and now we're going to the grand finals.
Oi.
Crazy, in a very domineering fashion as well. Now, Nicolette. Well,
Power bit ni
you've had
Nicolette
your
ni.
fair share of competition. I'm sure we all know. Not just
Asli mungkin macam ni sebenarnya ni adalah adik
team,
innocent lah
but
guys.
in the local region of
Akak ni
NA.
adik innocent, adik
So walk
innocent
us
yang
through
perempuan.
the challenges
Adik
that
innocent yang
you've
perempuan.
been through so far as a player.
Challenges so far.
Yeah, challenges so far as a player. Given that you have played in both leagues, like
Okay.
the region one. Yes.
Hello? Oh, okay. So, as many may know, I used to play mage, so jungle isn't a role that I started with, and I think it was very challenging for me at first to adapt to jungle role because
Nak nangis dah
jungle and
berkaca
mage
dah
is
mata dia.
completely different, and their play styles also very different, but
Berkaca
I
dah
think
mata dia.
our 3-week boot camp in Malaysia helped us a lot, helped us improve as a team and myself as a player, and I learned a lot.
Right, and that's crazy. You said that adapting was hard, but that Hayabusa was sexy.
Thank you.
All right, and now you're technically one game away from being known as the queens
Ya,
of Mobile Legends Bang Bang. How are you guys feeling?
I'm feeling great. I want to be the mother of tanks.
Whoa! What about you, Nicolette? How are you feeling?
Mother of time, bro, let's go!
I'm happy, but I think it's also a very surreal feeling.
For real,
because
bro!
Honestly, I didn't expect
Whoa!
us to beat Navi PH. But
Let's
here we
go,
are.
Slay!
Here you are,
Mother of
Titan
tanker, bro,
Slayers, double Navi
Dia nak jadi mak
eliminators,
tanker guys. Dia tak
really
tahu ke
amazing.
bapak
Now
tanker dia dekat
finally,
sini, bro.
After your showing
Ini gila
so
guys. Ini aku
far,
nak end stream lah guys. Ini
you guys
gila
have
asli ni.
gotten
Asli yang tak boleh lah. Asli
hundreds
dah
and
aku nak end stream lah guys.
hundreds of fans.
Is
Sorry,
there
ini
anything
memang
you
kena
wanna
klip
say
ni.
to
Ini kena
the
klip ni, bro.
fans?
Ini kena klip, bro. Jangan. Ini bahaya ni, bro. Dia ngaku mak tanker, bro. Ini tak boleh. Ini kena gerak ni, bro. Kena gerak. Kena gerak. Bahaya ni, guys. Bahaya, guys. Ini aku takut cabut belum mata dia nanti, guys.
We hear you while
Eh?
we're playing, and it helps us.
For real, bro.
They're like proud fathers.
Yes, they are. Now, ladies and
Gila.
gentlemen, this is our wonderful team, the Gaming Gladiators, and they have paved a path bloody over here at the Land of Dawn, and they have secured their position at the grand final, and they're awaiting their next opponent. And with that, we'll hand our time back
Dah lah, guys. Salam maghrib, guys.
to dissect
Gerak dulu, guys.
this wonderful match.
Cheered on loudly by the proud
Okay lah, guys. Gerak dulu,
Gaming
guys. Gerak dulu, Papa
Gladiators
Roger.
on the
Assalamualaikum.
arena.
Rostu.
The Gaming
Guys,
Gladiators, the Queens of North America, will be raising their banner high as they are the first grand finalists for
Tapi apa ni bateri dah lah malam besok event.
I mean, even from the interview, I think these ladies, they didn't expect them to
Dah, guys,
be
gerak dulu,
grand finalists
Gerak
on
dulu.
this tournament, but
Okay, guys, semua.
definitely
Everybody.
the way they played,
Gerak,
that final game, it's the type of performance that they will remember
Gerak
for
dulu,
the
guys.
rest of their lives.
I think it'll be scarred in our memories, right? I mean, that was an exceptional game, near perfect from every single member. I think you and me were like watching, and then we were like, give her the MVP. No, actually, let's give her the MVP. You know what? Let's just give the MVPs to all 5 of them because they played an
Budget.
exceptional game.
Gila,
but my
gila.
personal favorite in this was Sayori on
Gila,
the
guys.
Aramis. This is
Gerak dulu, guys. Papa Roger, guys.
an
Gerak dulu, Papa
meta
Roger.
where
Assalamualaikum.
usually
Bye.
utility in the mid lane
Besok,
doesn't
besok,
really work out. You
Assalamualaikum.
need that damage to come through from the early game to gain that